Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.
What's happening, people? Welcome to Tottenham Away. Back again. It's the best place to be on a Monday night, and you know it's true. Welcome. Smash like, hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, all that good stuff. Great to have you here as always. Live in the comments. Big up to every single one of you Spurs fans and non-Spurs fans. What can I say, guys? What can I say? Antonio. Come on, Iggy. Iggy.
What's Antonio got to do with it all? I don't get what is the Antonio. I don't get it.
We've got our Tottenham back. We got our Tottenham back, man.
What's Antonio got to do with it? I don't get it. I don't get the thumbnail. You're gonna have to explain this one to me.
I can. Tonight, I'm happy to educate the entire Spurs community, man. I'm happy to explain this one to everyone. But anyway, look, before
educate.
Yes, Greg. Look, before we begin, I just want to say one thing to everyone in the chat. Right, I want to get it out of the way before we begin because it's going to be a long night. I can tell. But listen, Rovshan, comments like this, and opinions not being a troll, give credit to the manager, praise. I'm not normal for the thumbnails. Let me tell you something. It's not normal for you to not come here when we lose, but you only turn up when we win, right? Only true supporters are welcome to this channel. You come here when we win and when we lose like we do. I'm here, win, lose, or draw. So you need to do the same. Otherwise, it's not normal, my friend. Back at you. And anyone else that comes tonight that doesn't turn up when we lose, you're going to get called out as well. It has to be fair, man. It has to be fair. But anyway, how's everyone doing, Iggy? You all right? Fraser Forster in goal? Come on.
Well, for all the ones that have been slagging Vicario off, you finally got your wish. Now we're going to be out. He's going to be out for months and months. I don't even know how long he's going to be out for because this has only recently been announced by the Tottenham Hotspur website. Vicario is going to be out for a while. He had a broken ankle surgery. I don't know if he played with it against Man City. Apparently, he played with a broken ankle for about an hour, for 60 minutes or so. I don't know the ins and outs of it. I'm hearing it as we're on now. So. But we've got the Fraser Forster, so don't matter. It takes him 10 years to get down to make a save. We're going to be all right from crosses and corners from now on. He ain't going to be like a bat out of hell. If you show a cross, he'll come and get it. So we're all right. We're all right defending crosses now. We won't have to worry about that.
Do you know what? We'll get into it. We will get into Vicario because it is a big problem. This is actually a big problem.
It's a problem, is this? Why is that? Because
he's a great shot stopper. He's a brilliant shot stopper, like I've always said. Yeah. So but look, we'll get into it. You get to fire your shots at me. I'm ready. I'm ready tonight. I'm ready.
You see, when you talk about someone long enough, shit happens to them.
There's plenty.
Why is Daniel Levy still here then?
Boy got cursed. The boy's been getting cussed left, right, and centre, man. And the jinx has finally landed on him as well. That's
Listen,
what I'm saying.
If the medical team took him off when he went down injured, when he was clearly in pain, maybe this wouldn't have happened. But we will get into it. JP, how you doing, brother? You good? We had tickets. We had tickets for Man City away, and I sold them. I sold them.
You fool.
Well, do you know what? I probably had a better time still. Had a quite a nice weekend actually. I met up with some crypto whales on Friday, which was an amazing night. Got home Saturday, early hours in the morning, chilled out, watched a beautiful game of football where my team actually turned up.
That you had tickets for.
A bottle of Jack Daniels, enjoyed Sunday, watched the Grand Prix. That was just as good. So it was a good weekend, man. All in all, fell in place. Except for half an hour ago, just before coming on here to hear that news. But as you say, we'll go into it.
You celebrated a
Do
win,
you know
then,
what?
yeah?
Hey?
It's unbelievable.
Celebrated a
that
win.
Yeah, man.
It's not what we do here, mate.
We celebrate wins.
You see who I am, mate.
We celebrate wins. We talk about losses. We don't talk about draws because
I
we don't
feel
get those.
nothing. When I watch Spurs, I feel nothing.
I don't feel anything, Iggy. I don't, man. I don't.
Feel nothing.
Well, I celebrated the win with a nice bottle of Jack.
If we beat Fulham, beat Bournemouth, and get something out of the Chelsea game, I can begin to say, you know what? Hold on, maybe I should feel a little something.
They got my attention. You'll say they have my attention now.
They have my attention. They have my attention.
Oh, look, at the end of the day, there was still pain. I still remember the pain from Palace. Still remember the pain from
Of course, man. I'm joking, guys.
Enjoy it, right?
Just to be clear, for those, I know you guys know, but for the familiar, maybe one or two that may not be. I'm joking. I'm clearly joking. Of course, it doesn't hide the fact. It doesn't hide, the Palace and the Ipswich is not forgotten, and the Brighton the second half is not, So, yeah, you're absolutely right. In the grand scheme of things, we have to show consistency in terms of results, both home and away. Try and combine the two, and be a little bit more consistent results-wise. Of course, otherwise, to win against Man City to then lose, follow it up, say with a defeat, which we hope not, against Fulham, it would be like, what was all that for? It's like just hook, line, and sinker every single time. So, yeah, of course, in the grand scheme of things, we have to show that side of it. But a big win. How many teams go away to City and win 4-0? Oh, I've done that. No one's ever done that. Nobody. And I can't believe to hear me tonight saying Tottenham is the first team that's done that. I can't believe it. This Tottenham that we've had this season is the team that's gone and done that.
We're also the first team to lose to Palace and Ipswich.
Yeah. Listen. There's been a lot of firsts this year. There's been a lot of firsts. There's no denying that. There's no denying that. Of course, that.
I'm just being balanced, because we get called, you're not a balanced channel. I'm trying to bring some balance,
But it's right. We've done a lot of firsts this year. They're calling us the Robin Hood of the Premier League. Stealing from the rich to give to the poor. That's what we're doing now. Christmas is coming up. It's time for giving. Yeah, exactly. I've seen them all. So I completely and utterly get it. So, in the grand scheme of things, JP, you're right, man. We've got to do more to try and be a bit more consistent. And maybe in 4 or 5 games' time, they will have Stell's attention. Maz will start giving a shit in the 5 games if that happens. There's many things that can happen. I think there's a long old season, guys. And I think I wouldn't consume myself too much with it. I would try and enjoy, because at the end of the day, if you try to be too indifferent because you're thinking I'm not getting sucked in or anything like that, I get that. Listen, I get how you guys think and all of that. But I wouldn't
for me,
myself from it too much with it. I just try and enjoy.
Maz,
it.
how are you? How's Maz?
I am very well, thank you very much. But for me, obviously I'm delighted with the result. I mean, I don't think any of us expected to go there and hammer them 4-0. And I thought it was a good performance from us. The reason why I'm not that bothered is I'm not bothered about Spurs in the sense of, I don't really think it makes much difference in who we pick or what players are in or out, who's injured or not injured, because Angie's tactics override those differences in the players. And I'm not enamoured with our team. There's no one single player that I feel, maybe Van der Ven, that I feel that attached to. I mean, Son for historical reasons, but not the Son necessarily this season. So I'm a bit indifferent about Spurs, the team. Obviously, I care about the results, though, nevertheless. So in reference to Man City, yeah, I'm delighted that we beat them. I mean, it was totally unexpected. I'm more delighted of the tactics changing to Conte ball or Jose ball, to be honest with you. It's like almost a hybrid between the two managers. And we just looked so much better when we didn't have inverted fullbacks. We didn't have defenders sitting on the halfway line. We had effectively two deep lying midfielders protecting, the back line. Porro and Udogie didn't have the freedom that they normally have to go into up front. I saw them do it once or twice, but that was it, and it wasn't too much of an issue. And I think Maddison and Kulu were cooking that day. I think that both of them played phenomenally well. That Maddison performance for me was the Maddison that I saw in the first 10 games, and the one that I was praising, that I didn't realise he was as good as he was in those first 10 games. So if that's the Maddison we're going to get going forward, then brilliant. However, I'm not going to get ahead of myself. We've seen this before. We've seen what Spurs do. We're going batter Man City and lose against Fulham, or something like that. Yeah,
the change for sure, man.
So for me, the question is, okay, brilliant. You can't take anything away from Spurs, right, for that performance. But then the argument is, well, why didn't Ange, this tactic that he done, right? Why is it taking him nearly a season and a half to figure out that this is his team, right? And I don't think it is that he's figured it out. I think that it just happened to a certain degree, or he realised, look, I can't afford to lose yet another game. Let me change something because I am literally getting battered at the moment. Maybe that's why he changed it. But as soon as Ange gets comfortable, he will default back to his normal way of playing. I can't see him changing that Angeball system that he does. Therefore, we will become inconsistent again. It's who we are, mate. We never change, mate.
So you're saying this result is a result of circumstantial situations?
No, I think there was an element. I do think there was tactical changes. I do think that he said to the back four, look, we can't play on the halfway line because if we do that, we're going to get absolutely torn a new one.
Decision making.
However, everything else around that, I think, was almost forced by Man City, and we played that way because we didn't have so much of the ball and we weren't chasing the game. If we chased the game, then we would have reverted back to normal Angeball. I guarantee it. It would have been normal Angeball, horseshoe football, right? Inverted fullbacks again, right? But because Man City had so much of the ball, that's why those tactics kicked in. That was my assessment of the game.
Maz, I want to get into the game in a minute. I just want to quickly say that to Dan, and then we need to get into the game because there's plenty to talk about this one. Dan, how you doing? You all right? You good?
Yeah, I was until I found out about 40 minutes ago about our goalkeeper being busted for about 2 months. Apart from that, all cool.
Yeah. The Vicario one. There's a number of players we're going to talk about tonight. Vicario is now one of them because it's big news. Look, let's get into the game. Let's get into it straight away because I know we all want to talk about it. So when you saw the starting lineup, Vicario, Porro, Dragusin, Davies, Udogie, Saar, Basuma, Maddison, Kulu, Son, Solanke, I think most of us thought, that defence, worrying. We saw the midfield. We thought, wonder how it's going to work. Maddison came in, Johnson was dropped. Then the front three, you're thinking, okay, well, Kulu's going to go out wide. Is he good enough out wide? He's better in the middle. Then you saw City starting lineup. You're thinking, they've got Walker, Stones, Akanji, Guardiola, more than good enough defensively. The midfield, Lewis, Gundogan, Bernardo, you're thinking good, but is that the strongest they've got? No. But then the front three, Savinho, Foden, Haaland, you're thinking, Jesus, they're going to give our backline a defence. They're going to give our backline a tough day. And then on the bench, they had Grealish, De Bruyne, Núñez, all game changers, whilst we had on the bench Gray, Bergvall, we had Werner. You're thinking, really? Have we got any real game changers there? Probably not. So everyone fancied City. you know, we did say, look, Spurs are their bogey team, but it happened again. It happened again, right? What? And we beat them. And I just want to say, guys, look, since Poch left, this is our record against Manchester City, regardless of who the manager is. It's City have lost twice, then they won 2, they lost 2, they won 1, then they lost, they drew, they won. So overall, out of the 13 games since Poch has not been the manager, we've won 8. Sorry, we've won 7, drawn 1. So we've won or drawn the vast majority. They've beaten us roughly 30% of the time. So this isn't anything new. Maybe the result being so big was different. But in terms of us doing something against City, this isn't new. Stats-wise, they dominated possession. They had more shots. We had more shots on target. They had more passes. We had more clear-cut chances, 5 versus 3. They had a lot more corners. So they, you would say, dominated the play, but we had the better opportunities to score. And that now means our winning streak is as such. Lose, win, win, lose, lose, win. We are ultra inconsistent. We turn it on big when we win. We capitulate and look utter shite when we lose. You just don't know what you're going to get. Hence the whole Robin Hood, take from the poor, give to the rich. Look, that's basically what happened. So my question is this. 1, why are we so freaking inconsistent? Why is it when we win, brilliant players, Ange is amazing. When we lose, Ange hasn't been backed. Players aren't experienced enough. It can't be that this fan base flips and flops like this, man. And the big question I'm asking tonight, did Ange Postecoglou, did he have a long look at Antonio and adopt quite a lot, not all, but quite a lot of his tactics? And what I'm talking about, guys, is no high line, no messing around, pass across the back, no inverted fullbacks constantly, and no dominating possession. We played much more in the transition, which is different to counter-attack, in case everyone goes, that's counter-attack. No. Transitional play can begin on the halfway line, like the last goal was. Did we play more of a counter-attacking transitional game than we did play out from the back, keep possession at all costs, high line, which is what we've known Angeball to be? Iggy, you can go first on it because you disagree. And I want to hear why, because that's what I saw when I watched the game.
Look, for me, from the starting lineups, I thought if we was going to have a chance, because like many of us, I didn't, as bad as Man City have been, I just think one thing I've said consistently, that this team can't be trusted. I've said it in many morning videos as well. So I went in with that mindset. I just don't know what Tottenham's going to turn up. And then with that defence, I always look at the central part of our team at any starting lineup. I look at who the 2 centre-backs are. I looked at who the 3 in the middle were going to be. And I thought if we're going to have a chance, if we're going to have any chance, is to try and win that midfield. Because one thing I definitely said to myself, that Man City midfield can be got at. They're good players, but they're not real worker. They're only good if they're in possession of the ball a lot of the time, and they couldn't deal with our transitions. A lot of them. The difference for me comes very, very simple. They had the opportunity to score a goal with Haaland, and Vicario makes a save. We got the other end to score. It's as simple as that. We were clinical. Something that I haven't seen Spurs do with the chances that we've had all season. Every time we went forward, we seem to hurt. We seem to make the right decision making and hurt them in a way that I haven't seen. I thought their defense, in comparison to ours, was complete and utter shambles. They've got better players, maybe, but as a unit, they were utter shambles. And we was everything in this match that we weren't against Ipswich at home. Against Ipswich, I criticised us in a post-match video that I did. I criticised us because it seems like we were just making stuff up. It was almost as if there was a team being put together, didn't quite know how to move, defending kamikaze and attacking. We was never as a unit. It just felt like we was disjointed and no one gave a shit. That's how I felt watching Ipswich. It's as if everyone was just looking to get away for international duty. But then yesterday, it was completely opposite. I mean, talk about doing a complete turnaround. We had the partnerships between the fullbacks and the wingers and the midfielders was all joined, and we was moving as one. We was going into a 4-4-1-1 when we was when we was defending, if you like, with Maddison just behind Solanke and everyone as a two lines of back four. It was super drilled, and that's something I hadn't seen in a while. I don't know, maybe because the level of the opposition allowed us to raise our focus and concentration and what have you. It just seemed to work fantastically well. And like I said, they had their chances, but we seemed to be to capitalize for everything that they were missing. We was putting away, and nothing that was that for me what tipped the balance of the game. In truth be told, you're right, guys. I mean, I hear what you're saying. I get why the Conte things come up because it was. I think Has said it in the comments as well. Like everything was like it was almost like the basics was done well, and when you get the basics down to a T, everything seems to flow. Yesterday it was like that. The fullbacks were doing the fullback things. I know. I heard Dan say in a bit of the video, the stream that I saw on Saturday, how the fullbacks weren't inverted; they were playing actually as fullbacks. And maybe Maz, what you're saying, the circumstantial thing, where because of the two centre backs that we had, we couldn't play a high line. We adjusted. I don't know if it's guys. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if it was circumstantial. I don't know if it was a tactic that Ange said, look, I need to mix this up because of the personnel changes that we had. He had to change it. I just hope that wherever the reasoning was as to why we played the way we did, maybe it was a personnel thing, maybe it was circumstantial, I don't know, or maybe because it was just intended to go that way. I just hope, and the only answers that we're going to get from what happened on Saturday is in the games to come when we get everyone back. Are we going to go back to doing all the things that we did and put everything in a balance on a 50-50 every game that we're going, or we're going to give what happened on Saturday continuity? Because I think it would be a shame not to continue something that worked brilliantly on Saturday with the players. I think if there's any justice, I mean, against Roma, I expect a few changes, but to go back to the next game against Fulham, the league, which I'm trying to keep it domestic football here at the moment in the Premier League, I hope on Saturday, apart from the goalkeeper, we see the same 10 that went out against Man City, because that, to do anything different, unless obviously there's injuries, to do anything different, if you've got everyone available to what we did on Saturday, would be absolute criminal, in my opinion. So I would hope to see continuity of that, because you can't change a team that's just put a performance in that. Now, of course, not only to give continuity to the team, continuity to the way we play, and continuity to allow us, because if we're going to start putting some consistency in results, or even trying to get some positive results in the games to come, we have to start putting these things in places, because without those things, the things that work, to give continuity to that would be completely effing up the possibility of getting positive results in games to come. Look, why it works still. I hear what you're saying, man. I just think that we capitalized every moment that we were given, that Man City allowed us, and the teams that allow us to play, we play well. The team that, because they are, Man City are a team that like to play a certain way, and it suits us. Against the low blocks teams, that we're struggling against the smaller teams. They seem to set up differently, especially when it comes to White Hart Lane. They seem to know that this is the way that they're going to get a result. I suppose we have to unlock that.
Hold on.
No, not at all.
Dan, one second. My question was, right, did we play more of a Conte ball system? And specifically, less possession, no high line, we were much deeper, no inverted fullbacks, and stopped playing the ball across that back line. Against Galatasaray, right, our defence was slightly higher up. Dragusin and Davies playing out from the back was an absolute shit show. The fullbacks inverting, it didn't work. And Galatasaray got in behind us 1, 2, how many times? None of that happened. We played very different. So I'm trying to understand. Did Ange say, do you know what? My Angeball, and 4 things: possession, high line, playing out from the back, inverted fullbacks. He dropped all of those. So
Do you think maybe they had a chat with the players and the likes of Davies and stuff like that? Maybe between them say, "Look, man, this ain't working for me. If this is going to work for me personally, maybe that a conversation was had."
If that's the reason why it happened, fair enough. But ultimately, Ange makes the final decision, doesn't he? He's the manager.
Yeah, of course.
Do you think he went for a more Conte stroke Jose-esque way of approaching this game?
I don't think you'll get. I don't honestly believe you'll go over to the Etihad and get a positive result, and I would have included a draw against Man City. I don't think any other way works against this Man City team. I really don't. If you play vis-a-vis, unless you're Liverpool, and maybe I will include Arsenal in that when they've got their best players back.
Last season he did vis-a-vis, and we got a 3-3 draw.
Who Ange?
Yeah.
What that I don't know that was that 3-3 though was.
Yeah, but he tried to go toe to toe with them last year. So, to me, this performance, we looked different in structure, set up, the way we approached the game. It all looked different to me. Even the second half, we said, "Oh, here we go, Brighton 2.0," but we didn't. We dropped.
No. So it's very hard. It's very hard. Because I tell you what it is. For me personally, it's very hard to pinpoint 1, 2, 3 factors when you haven't seen this happening at all. You haven't. This performance wasn't it. It wasn't in. You didn't see it coming. So for me to pinpoint why this happened when there's so many factors being thrown into it, it's a player change. Then you're saying you drop this stuff that all the 4 points that you just mentioned. He dropped it because of the players that he had available. It's very hard to pinpoint the reason as to why it happened. Some people say they got fluke. Some fans are out there right now saying Ange got lucky.
I don't think it was fluke, but what I think. Okay, if I was going to say to you, if you exclude Maddison and Kulu from the performance, who played well?
Both.
The whole team did as a unit.
Excluding.
Apart from those two.
Everyone.
I think
they all played well as a unit. They all played well as a
played well.
Yeah,
individually,
but
we
individually,
we played well.
Yeah, but there was no one outstanding apart from those two, right? And this is why I think it's more a tactical victory. Right, and a little bit of a circumstantial one because
victory.
Yeah, let's face it. If Man City got the first goal, it would have been a totally different game, right? But they didn't, and we were clinical. And I think the fact that we were clinical and finished our chances really helped us a lot. Now, that's not to take it away. Like, as we said, as a team, we done our job. We played a solid team performance, but I don't think I wouldn't say it was an outstanding performance. I think against a Villa, we played well, right? Against West Ham, we played well, right? But I didn't come away from that thinking, wow, we played really well. I thought, yeah, we played solid, right? And the tactics were different. So that's why I think you're saying there's no one
first
factor.
25 minutes, man. I thought first 25 minutes, yeah, they had their chances, but I thought it was brilliant in the first 25.
But what did we do brilliantly? But what? This is what I'm trying to say. What did we do? What was so brilliant about what we done? It was more the fact that they weren't clinical than us being brilliant.
We hurt them every time we went forward. We hurt them every single time we got in, and we buried. Like we literally we literally got them back, scored a couple of goals, and they were completely all over the shop. Once we hit them with a 1-2, they were completely all over the shop. For me, I think we rattled them. We're quiet in the crowd. The crowd was dead after that. The whole game after that.
I think we just finished off our chances. We didn't dominate them.
Man.
Yeah,
more clinical than
we didn't dominate them.
Make an assist as well. So listen, I thought we hurt every single time that we went forward. I think our midfield too. I thought Bissouma and Sarr. I thought they completely dominated the other three boys in there. I know Maddison, and I think Maddison being given the freedom with Kulusevski, as brilliant as he has been in the middle, him going out right. First of all, having two players out wide, although like you said rightly, Son, I don't think he was brilliant, but I just felt Son was a real proper team player in helping us out. Both of them were, and Kulusevski tucking in when they had to. Something that I don't see Johnson do enough. When I see him out wide, it doesn't help out the foot. He leaves Porro to his own devices. This time, man, they were tucking in a lot. I just felt having Kulu out on the right at the moment. Right, listen, for me right now, Kulu can play anywhere in because of the way he is mentally and physically right now. He's in such good form that right now you can play him absolutely anywhere and he'll make a difference. Having him out on the right allowed the freedom for Maddison to really play the 10.
If you look at the stats, if you look at all the data of this game, shots, big chances created, possession, forward passes, XG. If you look at all the stats, the only difference between the two teams in this game was we took our chances, they didn't. That's the only metric that was different.
It's a big thing in football, man.
Massive. That's how you win games.
How many times have we created?
Correct. I agree with you. No, I agree with you. But what that says is we didn't dominate them. We were clinical. They weren't. That was the big difference in this game. And we take that. Listen, as fans, we take that. We take it. It's not our problem. It's their problem.
How many times Man City cook teams?
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Right, and that's my point. We didn't dominate them, right? But we played well as a team in terms of executing our tactics and intercepting the balls and doing what we needed to do. Right, and Pete, sorry, I just want to say, John Kellier and the thing. I didn't say that the goals weren't good. So I'm not sure who you're talking to, but it sounds like you're talking to yourself. Look, overall it was a good team performance, but I didn't feel that the players, aside from Kulu and Maddison, where I did think them two played exceptionally well. I think everyone else around them just did their jobs. They didn't do anything outstanding. And this is why I think it was more of a tactical victory than us doing anything amazingly well. That's my thoughts anyway.
The way I see this one is, I mean, with what you said, Iggy, it makes absolutely no sense at all. It contradicts itself because Man City did not play to our advantage. But did they? Man U only played to our advantage because we totally changed the system to a fast counter-attacking football. If we would have carried on with usual Angeball and not changed about 6 different things I can name that we changed, they would have absolutely torn us a new one because we'd have been sitting on the halfway line.
They haven't been tearing anyone up for the last 4 or 5 games, so that's not true either. They haven't been tearing anyone up.
If we would have been sitting on the halfway line, right.
We don't know that. We're just speculating.
If we would have sat,
we're just speculating.
But they didn't play us to our usual way, did they? They played us to us playing a total different game. We played a whole different game there.
They didn't play the way they would.
Where we sat back as centre backs and the inverted wingers didn't go in and people weren't played out of sync and out of position. And at times, even when the wing backs overlapped on the counter attack, or if it wasn't a good long ball over to pass, which we never usually do, we even had 3 at the back at times because one of the centre mids would come back and cover the 2 at the back. We actually looked safe. We actually looked like we knew what we was doing on the pitch. And do you know
was that planned though? Good? Was that planned? Because
that is a good question. For me, I think it was.
You can't just say
in the first 15 minutes, it looked like it was falling apart. And I personally think, and I'm going to defend Ange here a bit, I think he had a panic attack. And that panic attack was, if I get absolutely cooked here, I've got about 1 more, and then my job could be out the window. And I reckon he also looks ahead of himself.
Way, man. He's doomed every way.
I reckon he looked in the middle and thought, there's their weak line as well, because that's definitely where we went for him as well. And we totally changed our whole game. Literally everything about it was different, even down to the defending, the way that the defending would come in. And there was at times we was under pressure, but we had 2 very poor centre-backs, a lot of people would say. But the difference was They was playing as centre-backs, not midfielders. And they weren't having to charge up and down the pitch like a bunch of headless chickens that were going to snap their hamstrings at any moment. And the wing-backs weren't inverting, and they could actually cover the sides as well. And the centre-backs didn't have to go out wide to cover the inverting wing-backs. So it just looked all totally different. Do you know what it actually looked like? It looked normal. It looked like a normal football thing. It didn't look like no suicidal, chaotic Ange football. And so with that, the reason I reckon he had that look ahead is because I thought he'd give it a bit of Angeball is what he looked like. And it looked like we was in big trouble. And then he totally reverted to a total different style. Like, I can't really say I've seen him play before. I've seen us play a bit more counter, but he totally changed literally the whole system. And to me, it didn't look like Angeball at all. And all of a sudden, it don't look like Angeball because it weren't Angeball, and we actually looked like a good unit, a good team. So if we would have played our usual way, which we were for the first 15 minutes, and Ange wouldn't have changed it, which he did after 15 minutes, I believe, we'd have been absolutely torn a new one and been walking off that pitch like John Wayne. And because he did change it after 15 minutes, then City totally played into our way, because that is the way we've always played when we've beat them with Conte, with Poch, with Mourinho, and it all fell into sync. So the minute that we lost this idiotic Angeball, it all fell into sync.
But the thing is, like, tonight I'm hearing circumstantial. Now I'm hearing it was a plan. Then it was a little bit of fluke, or maybe a little bit of luck. How did Ange Postecoglou win this match? Because if he changed it, like you said, after 15 minutes, then he what is it there? He went with one plan, and after 15 minutes, he threw it out of the window, and he got something.
That is what I believe he done. I'm complimenting the manager.
What I'm trying to get
at, complimenting him that he's got the brain to
this is what I'm trying to get at, Dan. It's not what I'm trying to get at is he's doomed. Whatever he does, if it works, hang on, if it works, hear me out, Maz. If it works, it's circumstantial. He got lucky. He's changed. Well, what is it?
I'll tell you why I did that face. Iggy, I'll tell you why I did that face.
I didn't say that.
I'll explain, Iggy.
One at a time, guys. One at a time.
All I'm trying to get at is what is it that happened on Saturday? Did Ange have any involvement in of that result happening, or did he just? I don't understand because I'm hearing different opinions tonight. I'm hearing different opinions here.
Yeah, all right.
That was Ange. Ange changed it.
Iggy, I'll tell you why I did that face, right? Because, right, Ange has created this distrust, right? Mm-hmm. And us thinking, is it the players? Is it this? Is it that? Because we're so inconsistent. If we were consistent, then you wouldn't doubt him changing the tactics and implementing what he needed to do to win the game. But because he hasn't done it in so many games, right? And when I say not just this season, even last season, then you doubt him when the change does happen because you think, right, was it other factors aside from him, right? And I'll point to something. Here's a contradiction. He said in his post-match interview, right, that the players have always believed in his style, right, in what we're trying to do.
Look at his essence, something similar.
Yeah, 3 months ago, he was saying that some of the players still don't believe in what we're doing, right? Which is it? Which is it?
It could have been a case though 3 months ago, Matt. 3 months ago, is that really at the beginning?
At the start of the season, I mean, that's what I mean.
Maybe it was true then. I'm not saying that what he said then, it might as well have been true. Maybe they didn't believe it in September.
So all of a sudden, after all of this inconsistency, just because we beat City, they believe in it all of a sudden.
No. I don't think that's. I think people when you set up, it doesn't matter. Listen. When you set up a way of playing, or you want to decide that you want to go with a plan. Let's just say Saturday we had a plan. Let's go with it. We had a plan and it worked to a T, and we won 4-0. It adds belief to everyone around him, and the players included. Most important part of it, the players. It adds belief to say, shit. Actually, do you know what? I might have been in that. Didn't believe him in that quite. But tonight, how we set out to work, or how we set out to do. Worked. I don't know. Maybe the players had the involvement and said, Ange, mate, I'm a fullback. I don't like this inverted fullback shit.
So,
play me right back. And maybe the centre back saying, hang on, don't play me up there. Play me 20 yards behind. I'll have a better game. maybe there was that conversation being had amongst the players. We
Yeah.
won't know until the next 2, 3, 4 games.
Indeed.
Iggy,
Right.
Iggy, but we didn't even play across the back line. We weren't even passing out from the back and left.
Right.
Right.
I think it's multiple things, right?
Yeah, so he changed everything then.
Yeah, I think it's multiple things. I think it's a combination of, right? He knew that we were very inconsistent and we were on a really bad run, and there was murmurings about his position at the club, right? And he knew he needed to turn around fast, right? Some of the players fell out with him. Well, that was the talk, and typically at Spurs, we know that's the case, right? And he also said, right, that maybe it's me, maybe the way I'm telling the players to do X, Y, Z is not working, so I need to reflect back. It's for me to fix. So it could be that he went to the players and said, look, guys, let's take a step back. This is what I want you to do. And they had the heart-to-heart, and he said, fine, for this game, I'm going to make some tactical changes. Therefore, he did make some tactical changes. However, I also think, me personally, when I saw the game, certainly before we scored the first goal, I was seeing the same old Spurs, right? And the fact that Man City had so much possession of the ball made us, it almost forced us to play the way we did, right? So it's a combination of lots of different things that happened. However, with me saying all of this, I don't want to take it away from the players that, yes, they played very well as a team. And for me, the two outstanding players that made all the difference in that team was Kulu and Maddison. Had they not been that clinical, I think it would have been a very different game, right? And that's all I'm saying. So, yeah.
So I think a little bit of Maz just nicked a little bit of what I was going to say. I would like to think, and I mean, obviously we don't know if any of this is true at all, is that we had that international break. I hope Ange sat down and started looking at the games, the way he's been playing, what's been happening to us, where we've been losing possession. We know we don't have Mickey there, which is basically, that's a linchpin, right? How can he change this? He has to know in his head, irrespective of if he wants to keep that system and play that system, he has to know in his head, it's not working. It's really not working, is it? I need to do something to be able to fix this. Quite possibly, as kind of like Maz said, do you know what? Maybe his job is on the line a little bit. Maybe he is feeling that heat a little bit. I definitely think he changed stuff, Iggy. He must have gone to that game going, I've got Ben Davies and I've got Dragerson. We've seen how Dragerson's been roasted with a high line. And Ben Davies, we know he's Mr. Reliable or whatever. But if we play him in the high line as well, we just can't do it. So, guys, guess what? You two, as be it Bissouma, be it what's his name, Papasa, drop back and give them cover. He definitely changed the way they play because they weren't so gung ho.
That's a good thing.
First 10 minutes, mate, I was cacking myself, going, "Here we go again," kind of thing. And I think it was fortunate that they didn't score and we took our chance. The first time we got in their box, we took our chance, we scored. And blimey, it was a cracking move, I have to say. Great cross. Maddison, pinpoint, right? Those two Maddison goals, you would kind of dream of the way that we want Tottenham to play, right? Now, in a way, I say it was lucky because if they had taken their chances, it probably wouldn't have been like that. And I'm with Maz to a certain extent of if we're allowed to play or if we're behind, suddenly we start either heads go down or we start panicking in the way we play, and we get totally mixed up and absolutely ballsed up between ourselves. And the fact that Maddison, I think personally also, Maddison did have a good game. He didn't have anyone in that, like the amount of times we've said, you get your inverted people in there as well, right? But also he was up against, who was it, Gundogan. He really did nothing. He kind of almost looked off pace. So he was chasing shadows. That other guy, what was his name? Rico Lewis, is it?
Yeah.
He looked lively, but he seemed to be able to be pushed off the ball quite easy. I think Maddison had a lot of control in that midfield. didn't really get touched that much. So he had space to be able to do what he wanted to do and run. I think that's one of the best games I've seen Maddison play in the way he's run the game. That's what you want your Maddisons to do, right?
The best. I'll agree.
Yep. That's exactly what you want your Maddisons to do, and not have people in front of him, on top of him having to drop back and try and pick up the ball. So he was perfect in that role. But I do think that the way they play did allow us to also do that in a way.
JP, though,
Because we totally changed our tactics, wasn't it?
But what's
Because
the one
we
thing
would've
we've been
played our way,
criticising? What's the one thing we've been criticising our manager for being stubborn?
that he has no plan B.
Not showing the flexibility, no plan B.
Mhm.
So
And that's
in this match, he's shown all those things that we've all been crying to see.
Yeah.
So
and that's where he's getting. That's where he's getting praise for.
Listen, I'm happy too. I'm happy too. All I'm saying that I hope to see by the way, big up Roma Theory. I just saw his comment in there. Got Roma on Thursday. Big up. You're worried about Thursday. We're worried about Thursday. We're all in the same boat here. We're all worried.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, but truth be told, listen, I don't know how much. Only in games to come, in the next 3 or 4 games, we will know if this Man City was a freak.
I agree.
It was a freak, or whether Andrew's actually. Do you know what? Yeah, I think he's finally, even through his stubbornness, he's finally seen what we've all hoped. And he's finally seen what we've all wanted him to see for about 3 months now.
Yeah, 3 months.
We won't know the truth. This season, let's just say this season. But yeah, you could go on all year long.
That's stepping out of it. 16 months we've been asking for this.
I'm just gonna try and keep it more relevant to this season. Say, look, maybe the penny's dropped. He has tweaked it, and as a result of doing that, he's got the best of everyone. And that's essentially what you want. You know what? You guys are right. Maybe individually we weren't everyone 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, but collectively, man, it was a 10 out of 10 performance.
We was a unit.
That for me is the best thing.
100%.
We was a unit. I only think the ones on that pitch. I'll go to 3 now, because I was saying 2, but I'll go to 3 that actually looked special to an extent. Yeah. That was Kulu, who was man of the match for me personally. Maddison, because he actually had some breathing space because we didn't play idiotic Angeball where he's got inverted wing backs sitting on him, 2 midfielders, 2 inside forwards, and he can't even see more than 6 foot to pass to someone, where I think Ange did change the tactics again. And I also think Vicario had a blinder of a game. For once in a very long time, he actually looked stable coming off of his goal line. For once, he actually looked like he could pass the ball more than 3 yards. For once, he actually commanded his area. And I think maybe for the second time in 6 or 7 months, I actually see him push a player away from him. So fair play. Let's just hope he could keep up with this, but he can't now because he's busted.
Oh, well.
So the thing I'm worried about is this could quite easily be that this was nothing to do with Ange and that Man City do actually make you play like that. They do. But me personally, I'm going to give credit to the manager because to me, it looks like first 15 minutes, we was running out and gung-ho. We was playing Angeball. Yeah, okay, we didn't get past it, but we was going gung-ho for it. And where they nearly tore us a new one on about, 1, 2, 3, 4 occasions, 5 in the first 15 minutes, maybe more. It seemed to, all of a sudden, things changed.
Yep.
Where the players were changed. Where the tactics were changed. All of a sudden, Udogie wasn't trying to cover the middle, nor was Toro. All of a sudden, the centre-backs went into the middle.
How does that happen? I've never seen that.
Right, I'll explain it to you. What, you've never seen a manager stand there and say, right, this isn't working and change?
I've never seen such a drastic change of intent where you go to play one way first 15, 20 minutes and you say, you know what, scrap all of that after 20 minutes and say, let's go to that plan.
I don't think he scrapped it after. I don't think he scrapped it.
I do. I believe that is what he done.
I don't.
So what, Iggy? Are you telling me you've never seen a manager change his tactics within 15 minutes?
No, not change his tactics. It changes the intent of the way that he plays. Because it's like you can go out there and say, you know what, first 25 minutes, let's everyone get behind the ball, keep it nice and tight, don't leave any spaces in between the lines, all of that, and let's try and get them on the counter. This is what I'm saying. Like, you don't go from setting up a team where you might have been
Says
working.
who?
Hang on, let me finish. It might not be when you say that you're preparing for a game, you've got a whole week to prepare the game, and you're going to play the first half or first 25 minutes a certain way, and after 20 minutes, say, you know what? Everything we've been working for the last week leading up to that, scrap all of that. Let's just do this. Like the inverted fullbacks.
Maybe,
Fuck
Iggy.
that.
Maybe
I find
he
it
sat
too
there
much.
and he went. Maybe he said, well, maybe too much for you. It's not too much for me.
No,
Because
I'm
I
not
reckon
saying
if,
it's too
if
much
he
for
had
me.
half,
It's too much
if he
to
had
prepare a game.
half a brain, what a manager does, a good manager, like an Alex Ferguson used to. He did
It's
it with
not
Man U
working.
enough times. Wenger did it with Arsenal enough times. Conte's done it plenty
Yeah, but
of
you're
times.
talking about him. You're talking
Mourinho
about
does it all the
legends at the
time.
club.
Pep does it. I'm just talking about managers, yeah? I can
Yeah.
even go to other managers. I mean, Harry Redknapp done it quite a few times. Potts used to do it a lot, and he's no world-class manager. And I reckon what he actually did was do his bloody homework for once and realised, right, we're going to train to do it our way. But we have been doing it for 18 months, boys. You should know it my way by now, even though quite like half of them still don't seem to have a clue how Angeball works. But let's just say they do know. I reckon he also put a plan B into it for once. Like, right, I know City can tear us a new one here. If things don't keep rolling right and it looks like we're going to get pummeled, maybe I will for once have to step off my high horse and pull my finger out and do a job of what a real manager can do and show that I've got the capabilities of a real manager that should be in the Premier League, that doesn't just look like he's only fit for Mickey Mouse League, and have a plan B to change it. Because everything totally changed. And I very much doubt that was down to the players using their intellectual. I think the manager watched it, roll, nearly conceded about 5 times and went, game over, plan B. Like I've seen a lot of managers do in the Premiership. In Italian football, they do it a hell of a lot. You can vouch for me on that one. Inter do it a hell of a lot. And that is what a normal manager does.
I get it, but what I'm saying to you with Inter that you mentioned and other teams, when they've been together for a while, they have these plans and might tweak it up, and you think to yourself, but we've not seen what I'm trying to get is I've not seen any signs of this shake up or mix up or plan B or not.
He could have been doing that in training this last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go for the first 15, 20 minutes this way, and then bam, change it up.
We've got a plan B.
I don't know. I'm not convinced.
So are you saying
I'm not convinced? No. Not that it can't happen or teams that don't do it. I'm not convinced in this case that Tottenham and Angeball did it. Let's get this one thing straight.
Okay. So in your view, are you just saying it's lucky? Sorry, Stel.
No. Listen.
So what's
I said I said we won't know. Oh, all right. Let me change it. Not we. I won't know. So the next 3 or 4 games, yeah. If this what happened on Saturday is something that
you're right,
you might,
you're right. You're right there.
The truth that I can turn around in 4 games time and say, Dan, against Man City, he was bang on because I've seen it now for the next 3 or 4 games.
Also be totally wrong. I'm just saying what I believe happened in this game.
Yeah, sure.
But you are right on what you just said there. You're totally right.
I just don't understand, Iggy, with us giving the reasons for what might have happened. You totally don't understand it, but then you want to wait 3-4 weeks to see what changed.
Ange barely did nothing, man. He barely did nothing, right? It was clear to me. We went there, we set up in a low block or a lower, deeper line. We set up more for a transitional game. We weren't playing across the back line. None of that was going on. What City did, what City are brilliant at, is these quick passes that split you open and they got into us through the middle. And what Ange did, the only thing he did was he dropped one of the players slightly deeper in, right, just squeeze that space in front of the back 4, and he forced them wide. But they still created going wide, but they looked more dangerous down the middle. Other than that little change, he did nothing else. Everything else was how we set out.
If you said this about 20 minutes ago, it would have saved a lot of trouble and a lot of time. Just say it 20 minutes ago.
You two are having handbags and throwing pans at each other.
I'm not. I wasn't. This is not me having handbags.
I don't understand it.
It wasn't me having handbags. I'm just saying. All I'm saying is
a conversation.
Yeah, it was a conversation. That's all it was. We'll find out in the next few weeks that if this continues, then we'll see it, and then we'll know more. Listen,
he changed it. I believe it. What he went for the early goal. It didn't happen. They was pummeling us, and we just like, okay, we're going to have to do this a different way.
I think
But
I think
in
we can
due
all
time,
agree. Yeah,
we
I
shall
think we
see.
can all agree. We can all agree that if on Saturday he has shown that he isn't, he's probably maybe for his relaxed his stubbornness and show that he can tweak it. That's game management, which is something that we've all criticised him for.
Yep.
So maybe if that game management has now kicked in, then brilliant. Then he's just added another dimension to his.
I'm complimenting him.
That's the problem.
I agree. I
Guys,
agree with you. I agree with you. By the way, Dan.
That's the problem, though, isn't it? Like every time we have a victory, oh, has he learned? Oh,
he's changed.
has it changed? Has he done it now? Every time we win.
This is what I'm saying. I have to see in the next few games to make believe that what happened on Saturday was a plan. That's what I'm trying to say.
No, I know. I'm just so frustrated that it always happens, though, isn't it? Every time we win, we're like, oh, hopefully he's learnt this time.
That's all right. We fuck it up against Fulham. We'll be back in again. So.
I just one thing I will say is that Maz did say the other day in our chat, the one thing that was clear, none of our players made stupid mistakes.
Oh my God!
And
yeah.
they weren't 9 out of 10 times they've led to goals
because we weren't taking risks at the back, JP.
Yeah.
And they didn't have the same pressure on them, did they? They didn't have the same sort of pressure on them to make those mistakes. Usually, where we're inverted, high line, this and that, the player, even though people say, well, it's world-class Romero, which I don't class as world-class, but they had time to actually be a player. They weren't halfway up the pitch and having a panic attack because the ball was coming flying over their head, or that they were there and had to come up and cover like 30 yards or whatever and that. It was all in more as a sync, as a normal football team. And everybody sort of knew where everybody was. It was played sensible. Do
you not believe that if we played this way, listen, if we played this way at the back, even with Romero, it would get the best out of Romero as well, playing this way.
I think it would get better out of Romero, but personally for me, if we could for 60, 70 million, I'd kick him out in January because I think he's done and dusted, his eyes are elsewhere, and I don't think he can be bothered with Spurs anymore, and I can't say I blame him. That's how it looks to me.
I think on my thoughts on Romero, Dan, is I think he is, whatever, world class or whatever, but just not at Spurs because he doesn't want to play for us.
Have we played Van der Ven and Romero in a system that doesn't mean pushing up to the halfway line and pissing around with the ball at the back? Have we ever done that with Ange? Them two? No,
that's what I'm saying. Do you reckon we'll get the best out of them if we did that?
Exactly. Listen, I've said it all year long, right? Look, I am prepared. I am prepared to totally get on board with Ange. I'm totally prepared to do it if he stops being who he is. No more pissing around at the back. No more inverted fullbacks. No more high line. No more pass, possession. There's the pass. Send it. Let me show you something so you can understand where I'm coming from. This clown, Arsenal have frequently gone long with their goal kicks, right? Spurs, can you see where we are, guys? Bottom. We never do it. This is Angeball. This is what he does. Now, if he starts saying, you know what? The first goal came from Dragusin sending a long ball to Kulu. Send it if it's on, man. Right?
But we never change, mate.
Right. If Ange stops being Ange, right, and stops doing key little...
If he could be more like Conte...
or Potts, or anyone. Just stop being who he is.
If he can be more like not Ange.
I can get on board. I really can. But
the thing is, there's nothing wrong with mixing it up every now and again. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't. You don't change your philosophy of playing football. You're just showing that every now and again you ain't got a problem, depending on how you're playing, depending on the form of your team, depending on what's happening. Every now and again,
all our
send it into the channel.
Playing his way. We're 1-0 down to Palace. 94th minute, we're playing tiki-taka at the back.
The most stupid thing,
goal we conceded.
Galatasaray game. How many times did we try to play at the back when we kept losing the ball every single time?
I just hope the pennies dropped. I just hope you guys are right. The pennies dropped.
With two strikers coming at us as well.
Yeah, and the two centre-backs. Maybe the two centre-backs have had a word with them and said,
we had Solanke and Richarlison up top and we're playing tiki-taka at the back. Right? Listen, I've seen enough of Angeball to know it stinks. It don't work. It's just too inconsistent. It's too rigid. He's got to change the way he sets this team up. We go to Man City, completely changes it all. 4-0. 4-0.
Maybe even Levy's come down and had a word. Wait, mate,
it's his tactics are so high risk that it can make any player, whether they're good or bad, seem really bad when
it doesn't work. Yeah,
it doesn't work. Yeah. And it only takes, and it doesn't even have to be that player that's done the mistake. It could be another player that's compromised the whole tactics and team that causes the problem. And that's why when we stop doing that, and all of a sudden we go from a high risk to a low risk, let's say, everyone looks good. They look like a team. But in fairness to us, it proves our point. What we've been saying for God knows how long now. That you know, it's him. It's not the players.
I've been saying it for ages.
You know, we've said many times here, like we thought. I thought there was a bit of an internal. I certainly felt it against Ipswich, like with Maddison not coming on and all of that. I thought something's going on. Like I think there's players that maybe remember that there was that news that broke out that Vicario, Romero, there was rumours of Maddison. Have all had a kind of disagreement with a manager of some sort. Maybe. I'm just saying. This is only. Can only speculating.
It was a lot of defensive players he upset, wasn't it?
Yeah,
a lot of defensive
and
players.
even Maddison, who I felt wasn't playing badly, but he wasn't getting the minutes. Then I'm thinking, what happened in this international week? Maybe there was conversation. Yeah, all of a sudden, like Maddison comes from the bench to come onto the pitch and dominate. Okay, he's come onto the pitch and dominated against Man City, playing well and scoring good goals. And you're thinking, fucking hell, this is the player that we signed. This is what we wanted to see from Maddison. But that Maddison was on the bench against West Ham and all the other games like that. And I'm thinking, I'm telling you, man, there was conversations. My feeling, I can only go by feeling. I felt we was a disjointed side against Ipswich, and I felt the rumours that we're getting about that some players were having a disagreement with the manager were true. And it's just a feeling that I've got. And in this time that we've had off, I'm not saying that it became tactically brilliant and stuff like that, but I just think there was conversations being had but players said, you know what, if we could just tweak it a little bit, just do these little things.
That was not tweaked a little bit though.
No, but you know what I mean? I don't know how it was sold. I don't know. Maybe the conversation being had
was basically changed the way we play.
Just change it up a little bit, and I'm telling you. And maybe to a certain degree,
play like that.
Yeah, maybe to a certain degree, he said, you know what, fuck it, let's try it your way. And the players, as a result of that, responded on the pitch. Because at the end of the day, imagine a manager saying, all right, let's do it your way.
I could believe that. But then they must have spoke about it while they was doing the training during the week then, because I very much doubt that Ange just stood there, see it not working and went, oh, go on, boys, do it your way. You know, like because usually he'd just stand there with his hands in his pocket and that. But this time,
if Levy called him and said, a few players have knocked on my door, you know, I had this with Danny Rose a few years ago. I don't need this.
Mate, listen, again, the truth will be out in the next 3 or 4 games that we play. I think only then we'll really know the answer of what happened on Saturday. If there's no continuity, and like you said, guys, when the players get back, Romero and Van der Ven and all them boys, once they get there, and we go back to kamikaze football, or what we call Ange football, if we go back to them thinking, okay, we ain't learned shit, and this is nothing's actually
it was like Villa. We played a more counter-attacking style. About 3 or 4 games when we've played good, it's been counter-attack. And people wonder, like, well, why have you got to refer it to Conte? Like, this manager can't manage. All right, then why am I calling suicidal football or high-press football Angeball? So if people want to call it Angeball all the time, so they understand, as some people find it so hard to do, I'm going to call it Conte-style football when I mean counter-attacking football, so people won't find it so hard to understand.
By the way, Dan, I just want to clarify something, because today I put quite a bit of stuff up on on our YouTube page, and the amount of frauds absolute liars that said Angeball's not a thing. Only the people that hate Ange, the Ange out mob, they call it Angeball to beat him with a stick. So just to put you frauds back in your box where you belong, right? I just want to show you the evidence because I like to go with the evidence. Fuad, Pro Ange on DR Sports. This is his thumbnail. He calls it Angeball. You can see it in big white letters. The Athletic.
Evolution.
The Athletic is Angeball working. These aren't Ange outers. We are Tottenham TV. Angeball. Look, you can see it. Chris Cowling, who defends Ange every time. Love Angeball. So people that dare to say that Angeball is created by the Ange outers, you are liars. You are absolute fraudsters, man, of the highest level. The highest.
Do you know what, mate? Fair play. That was fucking brilliant. Well done, mate. I'll give you that one. And like I said, so we now revert to a counter-attacking sort of style. That was good. It shut a few people up. That was pretty good. So now we can refer to a counter-attacking style of football. So some of the people that only understand high press football as in Angeball can now understand the sort of football I'm talking about and what probably quite a few others talk about as in fast counter-attacking football, which is really boring, by the way, because all you do is sit back and do absolutely nothing with the ball and hopefully win 1-0. Well, no, if you've got a bloody team that can do it and is quick on the sides and plays a good direct football, and you've got a good defence that can take the bit of pressure and then get the ball up there double quick, it can actually look quite exciting, like it did against Man City, like it did against Villa. Oh, no, but it wouldn't because it's fossil football and everything else, isn't it? And this Angeball really works, doesn't it? Do you know, to me, it just looks like this team, and I've been saying it for 13 months now, keep repeating it over and over again, this team is made for a counter-attack. Now, in certain games, I agree with what other people say. We're going to be better off if we do the Angeball thing, yeah? Like against a team that sits back, but we're going to have to find a way to break them in as such. But when it comes to a slightly better team, or even a mid-table team as such, this is the way to do it. And it proved it again.
Look, I think Angeball is just too risky. And if you're going to play that kind of risky football every week, you need outstanding football players. You need Man City level players. Yes, I know we beat them. But in general, Man City win titles. They win Champions Leagues. They win FA Cups. If you're going to play that kind of risky football, you need exceptional talent. We don't have it. We can't sit here and say Dragusin and Davies are exceptional. Adoghi's exceptional. Pape Sarr's exceptional. We can say they have good games, but they're not outstanding enough to do it week in, week out. And I think that's what it comes down to. And I said it from the start of the season. Do you remember I've always said, I get what Ange wants to do. I get it. I understand. And I think it can work. But he hasn't got the players for it. The players he's signed, Timo Werner can't play that.
Estelle, I 90% agree with what you're saying, but I don't.
Why not
think
100?
That,
Why can't
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you if you stop interrupting me. I'll tell you why. I think that is because when you play such high risk tactics, I think it doesn't matter how good your players are because there's always going to be a percentage of mistakes in there that are high risk, right? And all it takes is good teams to pounce on that. And we know in the Premier League that there's no, in terms of standards, any team can beat anyone to a certain extent. So it's almost like trying to reach a utopia that's never going to happen. We're not prime Barcelona, right? Where we're just going to keep the ball and just absolutely blow teams away, and you know, there's hardly no need to defend. So I can't see it ever working in the Premier League, or to be fair, in any other top league, i.e. Spain, Italy, England, Germany. I don't think Angeball would work.
It's not when you got quality players and like in the opposition.
Yeah, because the oppositions will hurt you. They'll exploit those high risk weaknesses in the tactics and hurt you. So even if we had much better players, as long as he plays that tactic, the teams will just counter it like they have done. You know,
and none of those managers have really been kind of like high-profile managers, Maz. To be fair, I think a lot of teams have worked out. Do you know what? We'll go to White Hart Lane. We'll play the low block,
The thing is,
and we'll ping the ball over the top, and we'll hit him on a break.
Because sorry, Iggy, still, and push back if you feel you need to, right? But is it fair to say that any tactic and formation, in theory, if it was played perfectly and you had brilliant players, would yield the same result as what you're saying with Angeball if he had better players and it was perfect?
Yeah.
Right. So that's why I sort, I agree with the premise of what you're saying, but that part of me thinks, well, it's not possible.
we have too many shortcomings.
Yeah, but
within
every
our
manager's got
squad.
their own style, haven't they?
Yeah, no,
Maz?
but we have too many shortcomings within our squad to play the way that Ange would love to play. We have too many and because of that, teams can counter any tactics that the Angeball system. They can counter that because we don't have the players that can fully comfortable playing it
He had an
all over
opportunity
the pitch.
So are we saying then that
But
in
also this
terms of
Angeball thing, it's a media thing. I don't think it's something that Ange Postecoglou said, by the way, I've come here to Tottenham Hotspur to play Angeball. I don't think he's ever said that.
do we think then that Pep was so confident in his players, and there's no reason for him not to be. Obviously, they've won everything and they beat everyone practically, right? But is it fair to say that in his arrogance, let's say, that he thought, you know what, I'm not going to change things because I know we can beat them if we play our game, and he didn't. Whereas if he just said to his players, you know what, let's draw them out a little bit, let them come on us, and then we'll play our game, it might have been a complete... Because he's done that before, Pep, didn't he? When he came to our ground, he beat us 2-1. He didn't try and dominate us completely in possession.
Did it to Arsenal when they beat them 4-1 at the Etihad a few years ago.
Yeah. So...
Do you know what I find that in modern day football that so many managers are so obsessed with wanting to have full control of how a team functions that it's almost taken away the freedom of the creative players to
I'll
do
agree
their
with
thing.
that. There's no
don't
flair
have-
anymore.
The creative players are so stifled nowadays that they're not having the mind, the liberty of creating is what they brought into football because they're
It's
stifled
robotic.
but they're stifled by that manager who's so over controlling of how every little thing on the pitch has got, and that's that football works to a certain level, does work on organization and all of that, and you do need to have a team that works like that. But the creative, the fantasy player needs to have the freedom to create. And sometimes he may go over the lines a little bit. He may overstep. He may be in an area of the pitch perhaps that tactically wasn't discussed. But if you take that creativity away from him, this is why we're having a lot of these managers. Pep started it all, by the way, and everybody else since then, Arteta. Even Ange to a certain extent, a lot of them have done too much. The only one I still see today, maybe Klopp a little bit with his forwards, and Ancelotti, I think he allows his forward players, attacking creative players, to allow them to do their thing. But I don't see a lot of managers that are not so over. Like every single one of them just want to make a name for themselves and just want to kill it with all this tactical stuff, and they stifle these players, which is why we're running out of number 10s, guys. We don't have a lot of number 10s anymore.
It's just too robotic now. Just
I'm talking about the old 10s, not the modern day 10.
I think Ange. Don't you think, Dan, Ange is lucky that Conte and Jose aren't in this league? Because I think their teams would absolutely destroy us.
They'd muller us.
They would muller us because they'll just defend and counter us and just do balls over the top into the channels every single time.
They did it to Pep, didn't they?
I've said it with Ange, yeah. And the reason I think people, even like us, call it Angeball, it got hammered into our heads basically to do it. Like a lot of things in life do get hammered into your heads and pushed down your ear hole these days. It's because no other manager plays a dickhead style of football like he does. And I think Angeball is perfect for it because I have not seen one manager play a whole game of suicide football like that. I've seen them play moments, but not a whole game like that. Not a whole game where you've got to run about like a headless chicken with inverted wing backs where your number 10's got 5 people round him and he's got about a 6-foot radius and everything else. So that's why we call it Angeball in that aspect.
He came out, Dan, and said he doesn't want to do it like any other managers.
Yeah, so my point is, that is why it gets called that. And the last bit I'll add to it is I personally think if you go and put him with a mid-table Premiership team, like proper mid-table Premiership team, he sticks to his Angeball tactics, he's getting relegated. End of. Game over. You go and give him the best Barcelona team ever, the best AC Milan team ever, and there were some bloody good ones, the best Inter team ever. Go and give him the best Real Madrid. He ain't winning jack. He might be lucky and get a cup. He's never ever winning a league because he will concede too many goals. And no one in the Premiership has ever won it with you score 3, we score 4. You cannot do that over 38 games in a league as good as the Premier League. The only one who came close to it was, who was it? Kevin Keegan with Newcastle, and then he screwed it right up as well. So maybe
isn't it, at the end?
I'm thinking Brendan Rodgers as well, like with that Liverpool side, with that defense.
I don't think that was quite you score 3, we score 4.
Dan,
but
I think Angeball began when we went down to 9 men against Chelsea, and he put the entire team on the halfway line. We got pummeled. It made such big news in football because no one had seen anything as lunatic as that. And then after the game, he said, "It's who we are, mate." And everyone said, "Right, Angeball." I think that's where it came from. And then everyone started talking about high line, high line, and all this stuff. And what he's done over time is, and he said, "We're not going to change."
Yeah, the reason it gets used like that is so people understand what you're talking about. Because there's no other way. If you turn around and you say high line press football, you still don't think of your bloody inverted wing backs and your bloody centre backs sitting on the halfway line with your defensive midfielders sitting in attacking midfield position.
I don't think of that. That craziness happened with that Chelsea defeat at home.
That craziness has happened in many other games.
From then on, that was shit I'd never seen in my life.
But then every time we lost, Iggy, it was the high line at this game, the high line, and then it just became like.
We learned in life.
That's when the Angeball happened. That's when that all.
Yeah, but that's the game we learned in life, Iggy.
We won in life.
We won in life. We didn't learn. We bloody won it. And yeah, that was it. There's that game, the high line, everyone on the halfway line, and just waiting for those balls to be played into Sterling. Again, that for me was the one that all kicked off, didn't it? This is Angeball. No one had ever seen that before. Slowly,
we've become less high line, a little bit deeper. We've been less about playing it out. Can we go a little bit more direct? He's basically. Slowly, everything he represents, he's ripping it up, throwing it in the bin and saying, fuck it, this ain't.
You know what though? Like that would be funny if they all did sit down proper and had a bit of a heart to heart. And he said to the players, "Would you think?" And the players were like, we don't want to do this. We want to do it this way.
What do you think?
And he went,
what do you think of shit?
Right.
Do you know what, JP? If they really were against it, though, this was the perfect opportunity to.
See, this is where I think this is where I think if he has done that, then he should be sacked. Because the players shouldn't be telling him.
Got him sacked by just not turning up against Man City.
Fair, but if he has done that, then he should be sacked. Because, like, as an example, do you remember when Jose played against Everton and he just went all out attack, right? And it was like 5-4 or whatever it was. Exactly, right? And it was like, you see, see, you got to listen to me. I know what I'm doing. Right,
but now the players have won. Now in this case,
now it's
exactly
the way around.
Not quite the same, though. So almost like Jose said, "Right, look your way. You're going to fuck it up, and then you're going to listen to me." And this one, if that is the plan, well, that's seriously backfired.
So scored 4 goals and kept a clean sheet.
Oh man, alive! But now, boys, we've got this problem with the keeper, man. I don't know. I can't get my head around it, man.
Let's get on to all the players because there's a lot of players we want to talk about. We'll start with Vicario. John Leaf for the super chat. Thank you, my man. He says Vicario had surgery today. On his ankle. If this is true, who's the backup Thursday game? We'll get into it now. So, boys, the news broke today, literally before we went live. Romano told us, bad news for Spurs. Vicario has today undergone surgery for a fracture of his ankle. And if you go online and try and find out the
Why is
length of
he telling
this
us that and not
injury,
the club?
They did. The club did tell us.
listen, I just, I was
Okay.
sent that screenshot. Whoever sent it to me must have got a notification from Romano.
Yeah, okay.
It's anything from 2 to 3 months, we are guessing,
Oh, that's it.
which means he misses some very big games. Chelsea, Man United in the Cup, Liverpool, Newcastle, and Arsenal in January. That's 5 big games he'll be missing, which means, look, Andrew's got a choice now. Andrew's got a choice. Either he goes with the lamppost, Forster, who in certain games has actually done well, but in other games it's suicide, or he gives one of the youngsters, whether it's Brandon Austin, Gunter, Whiteman, he gives them a chance. So he's got to make a big decision here. He's got to make a big decision.
His tactics as well. If he goes back to Angeball, like a lot of people are really getting pissed off that I keep calling it, but it really,
That's what it is.
Yeah, I just need some people to understand it. I know some people, you know, they find logic hard and that, but I want them to understand it. And with that, it's if he goes back to his style, like out and out, John Wayne's going to be an understatement here. We're going to absolutely get pummeled, and there's going to be nothing to dilute it. And we are going to have to sit back a lot more to cover that goalkeeper. Otherwise, we're dead men walking. I'm talking about you might as well play Zombie Apocalypse or something. We will be in serious trouble.
Guys, that makes a good point, right? The way we play is about the goalie being able to distribute from the back. We saw against Galatasaray, Foster's playing out from the back, put us under immense pressure. He has actually been surprisingly a decent shot stopper. He has. When he's played the season, he's done all right. I remember the first minute against Coventry, he kept us in the game with that save in like 50 seconds, but he was the one that gave it away that put us in the shit. So
I'm still seeing that Osimhen left foot instep. And him taking 10 years to get down there. I'm still reliving that moment.
But corners, he doesn't flap about. Right.
Yeah, well, you'll be happy. Then you'll be happy with that.
He controls.
As long as we're all out from corners, forget everything else.
But I'm happy. No, listen, Iggy. I'm happy to admit, if Fraser Forster was in goal yesterday, we're not keeping a clean sheet. There's no way. There's no way we're keeping a clean sheet against.
It's not agile enough. Saturday. The bottom line, right?
Vicario made some unbelievable saves in that game. There's no way Forster's doing that. So
mate, we're gonna find out. Trust me.
Are we thinking there might be a chance that one of the youngsters gets a crack, at least in Europe, or is Forster going to be
the fact that he's taken 4 goalkeepers? I think if he's going to go for experience with Forster, he has to keep him for the Premier League, and then that means one of those youngsters have to play in Europa.
I think he'll play against Roma. Roma. And guys, honestly, I don't know, because Foster's used
needs
to play
game time.
one, 2 games a season. Now he's going to go playing every 3 days. I don't know, man. I think he'll play against Roma, but in terms of the league, I really don't know. I hope Whiteman, Austin, whoever else really, really step up. They're heading News United thinking, shit, it's an opening here. I've got a chance here. And really, as of tomorrow, in training, put out all the stops to try and get themselves a shirt on in Premier League, because I'm okay with Foster starting against Roma, perhaps, but moving forwards, mate, he can't be the answer. There's no way this geezer could be between the sticks every 3 games, every 3 days. Sorry, we can't rely on this geezer.
Who else have we got? Because if them other keepers were any good, they wouldn't have been sitting in the under-21s team at bloody 25.
Mate, and this is just nuts how we find ourselves with Austin and Whiteman available and not playing them. And we've heard good stuff from Austin. We've heard good stuff. And Whiteman, a few seasons ago, he was playing really well in the pre-season, and he was never to be seen again. He played really well in it as well. Never to be seen again. So there's clearly no trust. They're only there to make up the numbers for the England.
Is there a world? Is there a world where this isn't a big deal? And the reason I say that is because when we lost Van der Ven and Romero, we all said, "Holy shit, we are going to get absolutely battered at Man City," and we didn't. So, is there a world where we say, "Holy shit, we lost Vicario," and Forster suddenly just does all right and keeps us.
Yeah.
I
think
just
it's called.
My
Yeah,
son
I
just
just
shouted
said-
out Harris is available.
Yeah, I think it's called
He's
Marvel or Disney,
Taking
something
liberty
like
over there.
that.
Fiction.
God,
Nice.
my opinion on Vicario being out or any player being out is I just don't care. I don't care because Ange has built this squad, right? So he has to deal with it. I couldn't give a toss who plays, right? I don't care if it's Porro and Udogie at the back, right? I just do not care at all, right? So if it's Forrester, wherever his name is, in goal, or if it's Austin or whatever, who cares? Honestly, it's his squad. He's built the team. It's who we are, mate. We never change, mate. That's it. That's my thing.
Cheers, man.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who doesn't feel nothing. I feel nothing.
No, you don't feel nothing. He just doesn't give a shit. Completely different.
No, but it's. No, I don't give a shit about the team. I just don't because and the reason I don't is because Ange has brought such crap players in. I think, or let me rephrase. Ange's transfer record since he's come in has been so bad, in my opinion, that he's left us consistently over the season and a half that he's been in charge with constant problems we're having to deal with, all because he never bought a number 6, all because he accepted Solomons and Valises, and he never bought more centre backs, and he never replaced Davies, and he never got a spare left back, and all this stuff. All right, I just don't care now who gets injured. It's his squad. He has to deal with it. End of story. I just don't care.
He did cover the left back and the 6, though. I mean, he got Archie Gray, didn't he?
Well, there you go. So, but I just want to say another thing. When we say, "Oh, are you worried about the team?" Is it me, right, or is it like we start talking about whether he makes one slight midfield change and that's it? That's all we talk about. Oh, he's played. I don't know. Johnson's not playing now. It's Kulu up there, or Son's not playing. It's Werner up there. I mean, there's no difference to the team. It's just the same team all the time. Never changes.
Lena, you say you can't do that all in one window. Sorry to burst your bubble. Andrew's had 3 windows. I hope that helps.
And about 400 million, roughly, give or take 25, isn't it?
Mate, this the lies.
I must admit, he's had it hard.
The lies we hear on this channel is unbelievable, man.
He's had it hard. Come on, be fair.
400 million is a big amount.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. That's tuppence money.
Do we all agree then
ruthless.
that Forster's going to be the one that plays then? He's the one that's going to play for Spurs. We don't see one of the youngsters play for us.
I would like to see a youngster, but I don't think it will happen.
Which one of them is actually younger than 24? 2 of them. I think 2 of them are about 24, 25, isn't it? Is it that Austin? I thought he's about 24, isn't he?
Let's find out.
Or have I got the ages wrong here? If I got the wrong,
I've got
then my bad.
I've got no idea. Brandon Austin is currently.
I swear they're both about 24, 25.
Austin's 25.
Austin's 25.
Yeah.
And Whiteman's 26.
There you go, and they're both in the under 21s team.
Yeah, but like, why are they still here? Like, are we the only club that does this?
Gunter's 19. Gunter's 19.
Do you remember when he said? Do you remember when Ange said
3 players over the age of 21? I believe.
Still. Do you remember when Ange said, "Oh, I didn't want to bring another centre back because I didn't want to stop that young player, those 16's progression." Yeah. Right. What about the 38 keepers we've got in our squad? What about all the progression for the other keepers that are younger than them?
And makes up, he makes it up as he goes along, man. He just says whatever. He just says whatever sounds good. I want to talk. Listen. Let's move on from the goalie because it is what it is, man. It's shit. The situation. I want to talk about 2 players that have been criticised a lot this season that were outstanding on the weekend, and that was Kulu and Madders. I also want to read to you some comments Kulu made after the game. it's always great to play against great teams because they always want to play football. When you play lower teams, sometimes it's not. There's not much football played because there's a lot of fouls, a lot of injuries, and it's slow going. We have to be more consistent. It's not a turning point. We have to be better in other games. This game suits us perfectly, but we have a lot of improvement to make in the other games. And he ends up saying, we have to climb the ladder. We have to improve a lot, especially in the games where we play the lower ranked teams. But it's up to us all to take responsibility because we're very good players. And now we just have to do it every day. So I found this a bit of a tough one to swallow, right? Because I thought he was outstanding against Man City. But then his comments are saying, yeah, but that's because we don't mind playing them because they're easier for us the way we play and the way they play. It's almost like, why would you say that? Why would you why do you have to say it's because, we like playing teams like that and teams that slow it down, make it more gritty, foully, we don't know what to do. What do you make of Kulu and Maddison's performance on the weekend? And what do you make of those comments by Kulu? I found them a bit, oh, man, did you have to say that?
Come on, man. It was just after the game. It was 4-0. He was probably gassed. It was all adrenaline and stuff like that. You have to when you get comments straight after the game of of that magnitude and winning the way we did and stuff like that, it's gonna be buzzing, man. So anything he's gonna be chatting shit for the next hour or two.
So it was shit.
On, man. In a good and bad. Come on, man. When sometimes when how you sometimes you get gassed and you're happy and you just come out with stuff that it's emotion, man. It's an emotional response. That's all it is. I'll take everything with a pinch of salt when someone's in that high adrenaline. Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
I agree with what he said, though. I actually agree with what he said.
I loved what he said. I loved it.
I get what he's saying. It's like when you're sitting in the back garden in the pub and it's coming to the end of the night and you're pretty pissed up and you start crying to your mate because everything's good or bad, isn't it? It's like one of them things. And then you tell him you love him and kiss him on the cheek.
That's
one of them
sort
of things.
It's an emotion. It's a good thing. It's nice to hear. It's nice, but even when that happens, it's nice to hear and all of that. But you take it with a pinch. You just think, you know what? You look at him because he's out of his face. You know what I mean? You're not going to take everything for.
Has he not confirmed everything we've been saying for the last year and a half? That
isn't he the same one I said we won in life after the Chelsea game? It's the same guy.
Yeah.
It's high on emotion. Is that don't listen to Kulusevski as soon as the game ends. Don't listen to him.
No, but that hasn't he admitted what we've said for the last year and a half? Open up, give us space, we'll hurt you. Be dogged, make it physical, slow the game down, make it one of those foully games. We haven't got a clue. Has he not just confirmed that?
Well, that's true, but also what Maddison said was quite damning as well, like to the manager.
He took a shot.
I thought that was a dig. Yeah.
Yeah, of course it was a dig. Like, come on, man.
Remind everyone what he said, Iggy. Remind everyone what he said.
It was along the side, like, if you give me the space to do what I want, what I've got to do, I can do damage, essentially. And he's like, basically, it's as if to say that the spaces that, because of him, I haven't had those spaces. Because we've been talking about it all night, about the inverted wingers, fullbacks, and so forth and so forth. Now, when you give him the space, he can do what he... Listen, man, that's what we bought Maddison for.
Just after the whistle,
I think it was a good...
He ran up to him, Iggy. Just after the whistle went, he ran up behind Ange and jumped on him. Ange didn't look happy.
but do you know what? It wasn't like it was a nasty shot at him. It was like one of them ones. Look, man, give me the freedom to do what I got to do, and I'll do it. And I think it was one of them ones. It wasn't like he was being nasty in any way. I don't think it was nasty. But then again, he's been taking shit as well from him because he's had him sitting on the bench for like large periods of the matches. So
I wouldn't say it was nasty, but he might as well have turned around and called Ange a prick to his face.
Ah, come on, that's too bad.
I don't think it was no. That's not being nasty. That's not being nasty. That's just being pricky. I reckon he basically turned around and told Ange, "That's what you are, mate. Now play me how I'm meant to play. Even though I've been telling you for 6 months, that's how I should be playing," sort of thing. But I don't reckon it was a nasty dig as such, if you get what I mean. But I think he was just telling the manager about himself.
Still, Lena Tooze in the comments said we won in life in Swedish, Iggy. Winning in life in our language has different meaning than to how generic it sounds in English.
Do you want to tell us what it means, Lena?
What does it
Yeah,
mean?
Lena, please educate us,
Yeah.
because tonight has been a night of education.
Come on, Lena.
Explain it to us, because tonight it really has a night as educating. Tonight we've been studying Ange, we've been trying to educate ourselves. What's going on?
Guys, is Kulu now beginning to consistently show us he's actually a really, really good player?
He's been one of our best performers this year. I think it's undeniable.
Because he has been
I've said it.
Comparing to Gaza and Waddle, or someone in the chat said apparently
stupid.
the Daily Mail said it was Gaza. That's exaggeration. as always.
I've said, right, for the lot ever since Andrews came, that Kulu's the least of our problems, right? And this season, he's definitely the least of our problems. We've got far too many problems in the squad to start worrying about Kulu. Either way, he deserves a place in the squad at Spurs. He's good enough for that.
Yeah,
and you know, I think most teams up until, you know, the top, let's say up until, you know, 5th position would take him because he's a good player. There's not many players that have the skill that he does, that have the physical presence that can bully midfielders and defenders like he does. His problem is he hasn't got high GA and high goal scoring. That's what he needs to add to his game. And if he doesn't add that in the next year or two, then it may be that player forever. You know, he may never add it to his game. That's the downside to him. I also think as well that it's a little bit unfair on Kulu because he's not exactly got brilliant players around him. You know, slot Kulu into a Pochettino team, and I think you would see a really good player.
yeah.
You know,
He's been really
he
good.
plays really nice flicks around the corner and stuff like that. I don't think a lot of those players are up to that.
He's not a goal scorer, and he never will
no,
be. It's not his style of
Yeah,
play.
that's the
He
one
wasn't.
thing that
He
lets
wasn't
him
at
down.
Juventus. When he was at Juventus, they played him on the right, like I've said, and then they got pissed off with him because his crossing weren't up to standards because he had to keep putting it on his left foot. When Ronaldo got there, they stuck him in the middle, and with Ronaldo, and Ronaldo loved him off big time. He was excellent at basically being Ronaldo's target man, you know, like a Heskey and a Michael Owen sort of thing. And that central is, again, where you will see the best of him in a consistent manner. Yeah, he was brilliant the other day, but on the right, he's very up and down and he's very predictable because he needs that left foot. All right, he used his right foot the other night, but again, not consistent. In the middle, he's got a lot more space to do what he wants. I think certain games, I think he is going to be ideal there as our attacking playmaker, midfield central, whatever you want to call him. Other games, Madders is going to suit it more. And I think there's other games where I think he's shocked a lot of us where he's going to do bloody good in centre midfield. And I think he's definitely a player we need to keep. Whereas at the end of last season, I put it into blocks of 3 of players we needed to get rid of. Ben Davies was in my last block sort of thing. And I thought we might as well get rid of Kulu because we just weren't playing into what he's best at. Now we seem to be doing it. We're starting to see what Kulu can do again. And he is a good player. And if you need defence on the right-hand side, you can't ask Johnson to come back. I mean, there's nothing of him. If I slap him around the face, he'd hit the floor like a sack of shit. Well, most players would these days. But what I'm saying is he can't come back and defend him, can he? Whereas Kulu can. He can come back and cover the right back. He's got that presence on him. He's physical. He's good in the middle, charging through because he's got physical. He can hold on to the ball, push 2 players off him. I think he's a very good player.
I think I heard you say the other day, Dan, and it's 100% true, in that what he offers more than Johnson is that he holds the ball up. He bullies that player who's trying to defend on him. He tries to wriggle around him with the ball quite close at his feet.
Keeps 2 off him at times.
Give you that option to get the ball out and play inwards, whereas all Johnson does is get the ball and cut back or leg it.
You see with Kulu, the other thing is, I think he's one of them players as well that even though you notice him on the pitch, I think he's one of those ones you notice him more when he's not on the pitch. Because when we haven't had him on the side, holding up the line, basically, we've been sitting there just like, how's anyone meant to hold that ball? Because if you look at the build of practically everyone in that team, there's absolutely nothing of them. I mean, I'm probably bigger built than 3/4 of that lot. And I mean, Johnson, he's hardly going to scare anybody, is he? and to get him off the ball, you probably just nudge him, sort of thing. He really hasn't got it. But Kulu,
I think with Kulusevski, one thing I've noticed more than anything else, when he's physically in good shape, because I think a lot of these games requires him to be physically in peak condition. Right now, since the beginning of the season, he has been. Like last season, or large periods of the season, even the season before that, where he wasn't 100% right, and that for me is massive, because you can see how he gets players. Like one of the guys said in the chat, he completely bullied Gvardiol. He was physically strong, and he has been in a lot of players. And I think the best thing we can do right now with Kulusevski is not knowing where we're going to play him. Are we going to play him for the middle today? We're going to play him for the right. I think where we consistently play him through the right hand side, it becomes, you guys are right, it becomes really predictable and it's very easy to read, because it doesn't vary his game that much. In the middle is a lot more unpredictable. He can on a half turn, he can go towards the right side, he can go to the left side. He's got the freedom, if you like. He's earned the freedom to move about. And that's
Iggy, do you remember what they've done with him at Juventus? I mean, you follow the Italian football as well. Do you remember what they've done with him and Ronaldo?
They played with him on the right hand side. I think when Pirlo took over, he said he's going to be playing through the middle, and he did for a
because Chiesa took over there, didn't they? They dropped him for about 4 months.
And then he was playing the middle, and then he didn't get on with the leg, which is why he ended up at Spurs. Listen, I think the way what we're doing with Kulu right now is the best thing. And he's now captain of the Swedish team, and he scored the other night as well. So he's doing really well there. He's full of confidence right now. And like I said, when he's physically right and he's full of confidence, he's a really good player, no matter where you play him. And most importantly, he impacts games. And he's impact in every big game that we've won this season. He's been one of the top 2-3 players.
Can I ask you a question about this? By the way, Leonard has explained what winning in life means. It means you simply overcome difficulties that aren't pretty to go through, but goes for the better of a process of your life. Okay, so it means dealing with challenges. Okay. There's a comment here from Michael who says, all Decky has been doing is proving, keyword, proving he's a leader. So I've got this question for you guys.
His job isn't to be a motivational speaker.
For fuck's sake. So he's getting a little bit angry there because we brought it up.
Fair enough.
If he's proven to be a leader, where was he when we were up against it? Against Ipswich, Newcastle, Arsenal, Crystal Palace and Brighton. Doesn't a leader step forward and lead the team over the line? Because in each of those very difficult situations we got in, he drowned along with the rest of the team. So when people like Michael say, prove a leader, where's the proof, guys? Or have I missed something?
He's not a loud man, is he? I don't picture him as a loud man on the pitch, screaming, shouting at people, pull your finger out and get your act together sort of thing. He's not. He doesn't come across that sort of personality. Same as Son. I think Son on the pitch is a useless captain. That's just my opinion there. But
has Decky proven to be a leader to you, Dan?
No. Maybe in the way he plays, yes. And maybe in the lack of choices we do have.
Should we judge a leader? Should we judge someone if they've got leadership qualities when we win or when we are in trouble and we need guidance out of it?
The latter.
I think you've got to judge him on all of it. Not just one of them. I think you've got to judge him on all of it. Because when you're ahead of yourself, you still need that leader on the pitch to make sure you don't get, what's the word, like incompetent, whatever sort of thing. Yeah,
you know basically. Who I thought was a leader under, but not with Ange, under Conte was Bentancur. Because Conte sort of dug Bentancur out a lot, like publicly and in press conferences and stuff. And you could see Conte on the side of the pitch specifically just yelling at Bentancur. Then Bentancur game would raise up and you would have brilliant performances out of him. And he started chipping in with goals and stuff. So I also think it's down to Ange. If he wants Cooley to be the leader, if he wants anyone to be the leader, that he almost coaches them or encourages them to to show that leader type mentality. But in our team, I don't think we've got any leaders. There's no real men in our team. I mean, the great thing about Kulu is that, as Dan said, he demonstrates leader type qualities in his play because he's strong and he can hold the ball and he can bully players. But and another thing is, he does have a little bit of a mean streak in him. Like, he's always winding up the other opposition, or when he's fouling them, he's telling them to get up, or he's, grinning and stuff like that. So, yeah, we don't have leaders, unfortunately.
I don't think we've got any leaders in this team because
Not out and out leaders. No.
But then that's what Ange said, Maz, that he wants to create leaders, or leaders will be created in the team.
Yeah, but he
right?
needs to do that bloody quick. He's had the season and a half. He needs to. You need to encourage that quickly.
Chris Cowlin disagrees. Chris Cowlin said that we need that he wants Ange back, and we should be signing experienced players that can lead. So
That's
He agrees
not
with
what
you
he
then.
asked for, though.
I'm just saying, Chris Cowlin and Ange disagree. But yeah, he
Oh
wants
no,
us
their
back
friendship, they will never be the same now.
It's a busted flush. Can I bring up another player, guys? Another player, and that is this guy here, Ben Davies. And the reason I'm bringing up Ben Davies is because
I prefer him with that Maldini shirt on.
Did you see what Madison posted?
Unbelievable.
mate, Madison's just pure banter. I saw this right on social media. This guy Seb says, "Can we just stop for a minute and talk about Ben Davies? One absolutely colossal performance, consistently reliable, time after time. When so many doubt him, what a guy!" Right? I'm actually getting sick to death of this now. Every year, this is what happens. We get injuries, got no choice. Ben Davies has to play. He plays well, has another good game, and then he absolutely shits the bed and he gets pulled off, and everyone says, why is he still at the club? How many more years? He's stealing a career. He's not good enough. He's the reason we win nothing because we keep all the deadwood at the club. He survives another year and he does it again. Last season, had a good game against Wolves, had another good game. Then we went away to Crystal Palace. He got pulled after 45 minutes because he had an absolute stinker. He's doing it again. And our fans never learn. They never, ever, ever, ever show the ambition of demanding better. And we end up saying, colossal player, Mr. Reliable, all this stupid shit that keeps him at the club. Guys, praise him as much as you want for yesterday. Do it. Go for it. I'm not having it. He's shit. He shouldn't be at Spurs. This is why we win nothing. And give it 2-3 games time, he's going to shit the bed. And we're going to lose that game because he shits the bed. Or he'll be part of the problem. I mean, do you agree with me? Do you disagree?
Fulham, right?
Do you like him? Is he loyal?
Fulham. I mean, look, at the end of the day, he
with the
came
way in
in
that game, it's, he always has like a little run and then.
Yeah. But I mean, if you look at, I don't know, whatever stats and things like that, he's come in. How many goals have we conceded this season? I don't think we've kept a lot of clean sheets. No Romero, no Van der Ven. Him and Dragerson keep a clean sheet away at Man City against Haaland, De Bruyne, whoever else, Foden, and like all of them. Right? Doesn't mean he's a fantastic player, but he has come in and done a job. And that one job he can come in and do, but consistently, if you play him on another 2-3 games, you'll quite easily see the flaws, right?
That's about his standards. That is about his standards. It'd be right at AC. Sorry.
So coming in for 1 or 2 games is fine.
They are crap.
That's absolutely not a problem for 1 or 2 games.
See,
but he's not someone who consistently can carry on.
JP, the serious answer is that you need to uplift your weakest players to gain a better squad, right? So you buy good players to replace your starting 11, and those starting 11 drop back into the squad, and you keep doing that until you build yourself a good squad. The fact that he's still here and we're still talking about him after the nonsense we saw under Jose and Conte and Nuno just tells us everything about the player.
But it was
So
only this
what?
summer. It was only this summer, Maz, right? That we got rid of Dyer.
Yeah, I mean that's no excuse. Though. We should have got rid of Dyer like when Pochettino was there. Should have got rid of him.
But we just got rid of him, and we ended up bringing in a young 16-year-old, 17-year-old kid or something from Blackburn, who's subsequently been loaned out. Right? He's literally the only experience we've got right now.
Well, this is why I just don't care about the squad and or the team, JP, because Andrew's created this. He's created this scenario, and he's had three transfer windows to rectify it, and he should have. I really don't want to go into it. Like he should have. Why is Phillips gone out on loan? Like. I would have rather him kept Phillips and him played Phillips than Davies.
Yeah, it's about freshening it up at the end of the day. Every so often, you need to freshen it up, making this team, taking it into the next next era, if you like. You know, this guy survived how many managers? Listen,
he's going to be like Ryan Mason.
Listen, take nothing away. On Saturday, he was brilliant. Having said that, we need to find ourselves in a situation where, if for whatever reason you have Romero and Van der Ven out, you got to have someone else in place other than just Dragusin.
You know that no matter what, Iggy, that no matter what, Davies is going to be here for another couple of years.
He's going to be
they
a
will
coach,
not get rid of him.
He's going to be one of our coaches. You watch.
Yeah,
it's going to be Ryan Mason and Ben Davies as the future double act of running the first team.
The other day I read that I don't know how we was talking about bringing Winks back in January.
I'm telling you, that's.
I think we should. I think we should bring him back. But I'm disappointed that Skip went. I would rather have seen him in central defence. Skippy and Dragusin.
I'm just sick to death of fans every year. When Ben Davies does eventually put in a stinker, why is he still here? It's been too long. Get rid of him, and then he gets a new contract, stays here. No one says shit, and he comes in, steals another couple of games. Yeah, he's brilliant. He's reliable. Blah 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 blah. And then eventually shits the bed. But and I just don't understand. And then I mean, what is this, man? What is this?
Man.
What is this? What is this?
It's where he should be. It's where he should be. It suits him. That is round about his standards.
Go on, Ben.
Can you imagine Iggy? Can you imagine Iggy in the San Siro, Chicken Royale and Ben Davies?
It'd suit it down to a T. I mean, where are they at the moment? I think they're about 7th or 8th.
I think you're failing to see that he's in the Maldini. He's wearing Maldini.
No, it's just the point. I'm saying it suits him at AC Milan. I'm agreeing.
I don't think it suits him at AC Milan. I think he's been. Listen, the guy's done. He's been a good servant, and listen. Thank you for Saturday. It was brilliant. But in terms of moving forwards, we need to start. And you're right. What is the point of bringing Phillips in and players of this? We've signed so many youngsters, and we've lost them all along the way. I don't get it. I just don't understand it.
400 million you spent.
I want to talk about another player. This is going to get controversial now. Okay.
No. It better be the player I think you're doing.
Speedy Gonzalez.
No. Who we need to talk about is not Werner or Johnson, right?
Can I say it?
We need to talk about Richarlison. What is he still doing at this club?
No, we're not talking about him. He never played on the weekend, Maz.
But he never.
He's still out.
You're not talking about Sonny, are you still?
No. We need to talk about a player, Speedy, right? Who cost £60 million and doesn't make the top 10 scorers in the league so far. Dominic Solanke. Right now, I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it. All last season, all the Spurs fans, they were saying, Sonny's not a number 9. Can't keep playing Sonny. We need a Kane replacement. We need a proper striker. And then when it was announced that we are serious about Solanke, it wasn't, oh yeah, he holds up the ball well. Oh, he suits the system. He links up the play. It was, he scored 19 goals at Bournemouth last year. He got 19 goals. He's got potential. It was about the goals he scored. We need a striker. Solanke gets goals. He comes to Spurs. He's not scoring goals. He's missed big chances to win us games. He had 2 chances against Leicester. He had a 1-1 against Arsenal. He could have scored against he could have scored, I think, a 1-1 at Man United, which he missed. Okay, we won that 3-0. But he's not scoring goals. And it's all forgotten because, but look at his pressing. Look at his work rate. Look at his lick. And it's like, oh, well, hold on a minute. Isn't your job as a striker to score? And I'm just looking at this list, guys. I expect Haaland and Salah to be up there. And Mbeumo is crushing it. Chris Wood is doing better than Solanke at a less team that creates less chances and a much lower XG and a much lower attacking system than what Spurs play. Cunha at Wolves, who are in a relegation battle, has scored more. Nicholas Jackson, who we cussed last season, is doing better. Cole Palmer, fair enough. Wissa, he looks like a top player. Delap, Liam Delap, Danny Welbeck, who's 95 years old, he's doing better than guys. I'm exaggerating.
He's currently our 3rd highest goal scorer this season. Still,
I want to talk about Dominic Solanke because we beat Man City, didn't score a single goal, man. Didn't even look like scoring a goal.
But he ran a lot still.
I want to know where you lot are at with this guy. Are you not going to give him a free pass because he's
But he ran. He ran a lot. He ran, you know.
And a lot of Spurs fans say that's why he's here. That's why he plays as the number 9 to run. We don't need someone that actually scores goals. Like I think if he took his chances this season, the ones that dropped for him, we would have got another 5 points minimum, maybe 6, and that puts us 2nd in the table.
See, the thing is with Solanke, why I think I'm a bit more patient with him than I am with Richarlison, is because I think Solanke as a footballer is better. So he can hold the ball up, he can pass, he can, have a burst of acceleration with the ball, etc., etc. Whereas Richarlison can't do anything really. So it's difficult because we don't actually have any strikers at the club, and we have no other choice but to accept him because the alternative is the pigeon.
For me personally,
or
guys,
we play Son. Sorry, Iggy. Or we play Son up front.
For me personally, before I shoot off, guys, for me personally, he's involved in a lot of our, in transition, and when we start our moves, he's involved in linking up the play. And I find him that too often when we do that attack comes to fruition or he's never there because he starts to move, or he's often starting to move back to goal. And then by the time, perhaps ball gets played into Werner or Son or Kulu, he's too far behind. He doesn't. But in terms like yesterday, what he did, he set up the goal for what's it, Porro. He set the goal up for Porro. For me, I don't ever see a lot of the chances that we create with him being at the end of him. I don't feel like he gets enough opportunities in front of goal. I know what you just mentioned, though, like the chances that he's had, but there might have been that only one chance that he's had in the whole game, and I don't see him involved. Yeah, I don't think we create enough for him, and I think often in our attacks he's involved at the beginning.
1 minute, we've scored 27 goals this year. We've created plenty of chances.
No, what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that we don't create enough as a team. I'm saying we don't create enough with him being where he's supposed to be.
I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to prove you wrong. Do you know who's got one of the worst XGs in our team? Solanke. He's missed more big chances than he's the 3rd worst in the team. We do create, but he fucks it.
Yeah, but we're talking, how many chances a game are we talking here?
Iggy, over this season, he's missed
how
more
many
big
chances is that? Okay, but I'm saying, name me a game where you saw he fucked 3-4 chances. He had 4 opportunities to score, and he didn't.
No, but his chances, but the chances he misses are big ones, like 6 yards out. Big chances.
I don't know, man. Listen, I'm not going. I'm with Maz on this one. I'm not going all in. The keys is just. I think a fair reflection is to give him given their season innocent numbers.
Rich in the channel member, Rich said it best. I can't believe that the club I support now has the Pigeon, Turbo Wiener, and Beetlejuice after having Kane up top. This is the state of affairs, right? That we're in. And this is why I don't care about the players or who plays anymore.
120 million, Maz.
Yeah, I'll talk about the
I
game.
agree.
Right, I'll talk about the game. I'll talk about the tactics, but whoever plays, I just don't care.
120 million on
So
two strikers. That's the reality.
I need to just call out a couple of lies because we need to put them in their place. He pulls XG out when it suits. We've been talking about XG the whole show. You only joined the last 10 minutes. Please don't lie. It makes you look like clown.
I hope AT's footballing opinion isn't like his golf.
Listen,
because he's got a golf thing in the background, so I'm assuming that his golf is better than his footballing opinion.
That's the new golf course building at Tottenham. He's a big fan of Levy. Maurice Richards says, "This is your take now. If he wins, it's because he's copying Conte. You guys are something else. When we beat Aston Villa, when we beat West Ham, I never once mentioned Conte. Please don't lie. We've got to stop lying, people. We've got to stop the misleading behaviour. Look, I'm just saying." Your primary job as a striker is to score goals, and if you're not scoring, then what are we doing here?
Listen, I'm not disagreeing.
Do you know what's happening? When we win, he gets away with it, right? When we win, he gets away with it because all the other players score. When we lose, we're looking at him to do something, and he doesn't do it. Where was he against Arsenal? He missed the one-on-one. That could have drawn us the game. He had a chance against Ipswich. Doesn't take it. We lose that game. Another point dropped. He had 2 really good chances against Leicester City. He misses both of them. When we lose games, this guy is at the center of the chances. This is what I'm saying. A player, any one of these players on the list definitely has a better chance of putting those chances away. And I'm just questioning it. I'm not saying write him off. I'm questioning it because I think it's an issue. He don't score.
We said it earlier.
I know Ellie said he scored six goals in all competitions. Ellie, I'm just looking at the Premier League because not all those players on that list get to play. Not all those players on the list are still in the
What was the big thing that was happening at Bournemouth when he scored those 19 goals? What was
They
happening?
played a
at
different
Bournemouth?
system. Completely different system.
What system was that?
No, but he's getting chances at Spurs. He's missing them.
Okay, but
He's
why
actually
was he
getting
scoring
chances.
19 goals at Bournemouth? What was the reason for that? Was he getting more service? Was it? What was it?
He's had chances. It's a fair question. I don't know, but it was his first decent season as well. I mean, look,
maybe our style don't suit us then. Maybe our style doesn't suit him. I don't know.
Maybe Liverpool style didn't suit him either, did it? When he played 20 games straight and only scored a bloody goal.
I just think
simple thing I'll say, Iggy, is against Tottenham, lots of teams play a lower block. Yeah. Against Bournemouth, I don't think many teams played a low block.
That's a fair point. That is a fair point to look at. In my opinion.
Listen, for me, after Kane, we knew. By the way, we knew how good Kane was, and we knew just how amazing he was because he'd create and make a goal out of nothing. Mm-hmm. And even with the way that we played then,
he could feed himself.
And exactly that. and he could. You're right. That's
Whereas Haaland can't. Haaland can't feed himself.
He can make a goal out of nothing. He can make a goal without even having been served all game. Bottom line is, it was just another, and we always knew that whoever followed him would be struggling.
Do you think it's sort of like, if you rate back to, let's take it as a manager, do you think it's the same sort of thing like with Kane, been here, done it, got the storybook, now he's gone, like with Alex Ferguson with Man U sort of thing? Whoever was going to jump in after for the next few years was screwed come love nor money because they had to live up to that. No one's going to live up to Kane. It's not going to happen. And I very much doubt it.
And I honestly feel...
But for 65 million, shouldn't he be putting in some of them chances? When our manager turned round and said, we need a goal scorer, goes and spends 65 million on Solanke and re-signs
50 on Brennan Johnson, 40 on that Archie Gray. I mean, that's a lot of money, man, on players.
I agree.
And unfortunately, man, I'm willing to give Solanke a little bit longer. But, you know, Richarlison has proved to be a waste of money. And listen, We can go on, and I'm with Maz, man. It's too late for me to. We can do this, and it's just gonna go and take us to a bad place.
What I would say, Dan, is that I do agree that what we wanted was a goal scorer. Obviously, not in the Kane bracket because you can't go and get one of those. But we wanted someone to score goals. That's what I want my centre forward striker to score goals. I don't want him to run around and chase and do all the harassing stuff, which that's what he's good at the moment. That should come by standard. But he needs to score goals, and he needs to be judged by putting the ball in the net.
That score.
It doesn't seem that Ange wants to play him, does it? I mean, this is what I asked on my show earlier with Stel and a couple of others. What is his actual role at Spurs? What is he? What is he meant to be? Is he meant to be a striker? Is he meant to be a target man? Are we playing a sort of Liverpool with Firmino and the two in cutting inside forwards? Is he meant to be on the halfway line doing his thing down there or out on the left? And that? What actually is he meant to be doing here? Because he ain't scoring goals regular.
Personally, I think they like him because he runs around and starts to press.
So it'd be good with him and Richarlison then.
That means
they both run around, didn't it?
No one to score goals.
When you sign a striker, why do you sign a striker?
Of course, to score goals first and foremost. But then,
there you go.
But then,
we just answered the question.
But all strikers are brought in to score goals. But then it's how they're deployed as well, man. Look at the way how we're trying to play.
So why didn't Soldado survive then?
Yeah, but that's what we do, though. We go and buy a striker who does one thing and is good at one thing. Bring him to Tottenham and do totally different else. Do a totally different role.
Soldado was used to having a man next to him. He always played the two up front.
Yep.
He played in the big man, small man.
What do we do? What do we do then? We played him up front on his own.
Right. So I don't understand. Like
we don't ever buy a player suit for purpose. Even the players that we brought in this is Archie Gray. What was the purpose of buying a holding midfielder to play fullback and centre back?
That's right. That's true. I can't argue that. But Ange said this was his man. Ange said this was the man he wanted from day. Ange got him.
Okay.
He ain't looking like a good striker. I mean, all right, he's played some good games holding up the ball and everything, but for 65 million, I expect a bit better service in the back of the net.
Listen, it's very difficult to argue that because the numbers don't lie. So we just have to give it a benefit of that and hopefully come through between now and the end of the season. That's as far as I can put it. I can't say any more on him. I just think it's been a shit show since Kane left. We didn't prepare for it, and I've never felt that we bought a striker. The striker that will suit us is someone that creates something out of nothing. And a lot of these strikers, they're not about, man.
They don't exist anymore.
They don't.
They don't exist anymore. 9 out of 10 strikers these days need feeding. They can't feed themselves.
So what he's got? So currently, it's like 12 games, 4 goals, right? That's what, 1 in 3?
Well, yeah, that's where it would help if where he needs feeding, he needs service. If he's meant to be our goal scorer and not just a target man to hold it up like Firmino was with Liverpool, then don't we need to get ourselves a decent winger that could cross it in? Because Son ain't that man. Son can't pass. Son can't cross.
Brendan Johnson.
Not on a regular. Now and again he can. Johnson, he can run with the ball and tap it in the back of the net. I'll give him that. At least Son can still put it in the back of the net and has got a world-class finish. But his stamina looks like he's gone. He looks like he's lost half his pace as well. Half. That's
I don't think
he looks like he's lost a bit of pace.
I think we've overplayed Son, and he's just not 100%. I think we've overplayed him.
No.
I don't think he looks right. I don't think.
But what I'm saying is, even when he was at his peak, he still couldn't cross for crap, and he still couldn't pass very well.
Yeah, I don't think
it weren't his strong point. So do we need someone on the wing who can give service to Solanke? Is what I'm saying.
Dan, if you want a real answer, I think we should be playing. If you want to get the best out of these attackers, you should be playing with 2 up front. Son alongside.
I agree. I agree.
I think if you want to, but then that will mean reverting to wing backs. It would mean going 5 in midfield. It would mean going 3 at the back. We ain't doing.
I'd be happy with that. No, I know that.
It could work with the wing backs. It could work with the wing backs. We could have 3 centre backs. We could play Maddison.
Maybe that's Ange's plan next season, Iggy.
I don't know. All I'm saying is, with the forwards that we got, I think the best would be to play Son alongside Solanke or with another striker, playing him close to the goal. I think you'll get the best out of Son. I think you'll get
Kulusevski and Son would work up there, I reckon.
Yeah. I think any of that. I think
Basically,
a partnership.
Simon said 33 goals in 144 games. That's roughly 1 in 4-ish, right? So we bought a 65 million striker to basically score 10 goals for us in the season. Brilliant.
Well, he's doing 1 in 3 at the moment, so he's better, Maz.
Yeah, there
Right,
we go.
night, people.
He's
Guys,
improving.
see you later.
He's improving
Yeah.
your
Later in the
age.
chat.
Yeah, look after yourself. Take care.
See you later, man. Take care.
Big up
Later
to
on.
you as always.
65 million is a lot for a man that is just only going to do. Looks like he's only going to do that, isn't it? But Ange did say that is my man. That is who I want. And a lot of people turned around and said, "What are you lot talking about?" Relating to me and others, and because he suits Angeball. That's what I got told by a lot of people.
The thing is,
just think when you're in a game,
Kyogo-
you're losing, and you need something special. You need someone to pull you out of it. You're looking at
But-
someone that can create a goal and score a goal because that can turn the game. And when I look at Johnson, he's not going to do it. When I look at Solanke, he's not doing it. The only one that can do it is Son. But let's be honest, he's not the Son of old. He's not. So maybe Madison. But
yeah, but
he hasn't done it when we're up against
still,
it.
but I'm kind of annoyed that we didn't bring Kyogo from Celtic with him.
Jota
because-
or Matt O'Reilly.
Yeah,
a lot of players from
and O'Reilly, obviously, we all said O'Reilly as well, right? But they would have been low cost buys that probably would have done just as good, as Solanke. I think they would have done just as good because they look like good players. I mean, O'Reilly's a good player. You can tell he's a good player, and Kyogo, he's a good finisher and he was quick as well.
Again,
and
Maz, it's another lie that we were told, and fans spread the word. Ange is great at unearthing gems. Ange doesn't need to spend a lot of money. Ange
I
will
fell
pick
for that
these
one.
players. What have we seen?
we all fell for it because there was nothing
I never fell for it.
showing us.
I never fell
No,
for it.
yes, you did. So you did, right?
Oh no, I did not. I never
yes,
once
you did.
said that's what's
You
going to happen.
did.
No.
You
No.
did when
No.
he
Yeah, come on,
came.
Phil, don't BS us.
No, come
I
on,
said,
mate. You did.
No. You can
Yes,
say a
you
number
did.
of things, but you're not getting away with this one, Maz, right? I never once said he's brilliant at unearthing gems.
Yeah,
and
Maz.
I always said after that first window,
No. Don't change it.
No, I'm not changing it. You don't like
You
the truth.
are.
No. I know what I said. I know what I said. I said all along after that big summer window, I said, right, let's give him that 1 year. Let's see what happens. And this summer will tell us what's what. He better not sign Werner non-negotiable. Sign Werner.
No. You're
done,
changing
and
it.
then this
Stop
no, I'm
jumping
not.
forward.
I never
What about
once said
before then?
he is brilliant at it, and I'm on board with that. I never once
No.
said
When
I want
listen,
quality proven
you're not
talent.
letting me speak, so you're just monologuing.
Because you're misleading the audience.
I'm not misleading the audience.
Yes, you are.
I haven't said anything.
Yes, you are. I've always said, and I stick to what I say, until I see quality proven talent signed, nothing changes. And Ange came with the premise that's not what he does. I always said that. So if you want to twist it, good luck.
Did you think he could
Right,
do it?
Stel. Is it my turn now? Right,
Yeah.
good.
Lie away.
Right. When Ange first came, before all of this history lesson that you just gave us, right, happened, when he first came in and we were saying, right, what do we expect Ange to do, right? We all agreed that Ange coming in, supposedly, that he has knowledge of all these leagues around Europe before anything had happened, right? So when we found out that he got the job in June and he was coming in July, so we all said if he has got this knowledge around Europe about bringing in players, and we saw the documentary about him and Kyogo and Jota and all of that, if he'd done that at Spurs, will be really good. That's what I'm referring to. I'm not talking about the stuff you said post him coming in and him bringing in Solomon and all that sort of stuff.
I never got on board with that, Maz. I never got on board with that. That's
Okay.
my point. I never. And look, let's see, it fuels more lies, right? Stel said we're done with the league with a good January window. Yes. Did we have a good January window? No. We didn't. We signed Dragusin, Bergvall, and
That's
Werner.
post what I'm saying. That's post what I'm saying. The timeline's different. I'm talking about.
I'm not typing that.
Tommy, that's post what I'm saying, right? Right. I'm talking about when we first signed him in June, right? And we were we were theorizing as what he was going to be like, right? And I recall all of us agreeing that if he does the same things as what he did with Celtic in terms of unearthing gems, that would be the case. Now you're saying you didn't, and I have to take your word for it, but I don't believe you.
Then you need to go back, watch, get the evidence, and then bring it to the table. Because when you do, I want an apology next show. I want an apology next show because
I'm not that petty, all right?
I remember what happened. Listen, you're good at misleading when it comes to me, but I'm not having it. I remember what happened. We brought Ange in, and everyone was talking about he unearths gems. He knows the Asian market, and we said we expect that to happen. Because it fits Levy perfectly. That was the conversation. Yeah. But I said in that argument, I don't buy it. Because unless we sign proven talent, I don't see how it changes if we're going to start picking Carlos Kickaball from Spain and some other random from Korea and this guy from Fiji. It's not happening.
No.
Carlos Kickaball.
Do you know who said that?
I fell for it. I thought it was
That was Alan Sugar.
Alan Sugar said that, didn't he?
Because I'm not paying millions for Carlos Kickaball from some foreigner called Carlos Kickaball.
Alan Sugar, big up.
I thought it would suit him down to a T.
That's brilliant.
I thought it would suit him down to a T. But
sorry, Dan, so go on.
It obviously hasn't, has it? I mean, the money he's had as well and it really hasn't suited him, has it? It's more money than he's ever had, and he's probably spent it on worse crap than he'd have bought up Celtic. So,
listen, other than Yang,
it's irrelevant, isn't it?
Who might be the only one that maybe fits in? Well, no, it does. It fits. We've got to see how good he is first. He's the only one that might fit into the pitch that we were sold about. And everyone else.
So now you're being a fraud. Now we're talking about Yang.
Yeah, but he didn't really come from Ange, did he?
I'm saying, other than Yang, no other player he's signed fits into what we were told Ange was going to be about. We were told Ange he knows all these gems around Asia, and he's going to pick out these players from Celtic and whatnot.
Mate, he didn't sign Yang. Levy signed Yang, and Munn signed Yang. That wasn't an Ange signing.
Okay,
he's as far away from an Ange signing as I've ever seen. Yeah, exactly.
That was what was it? A pure PC thing, wasn't it?
Yeah. But guys, 100%. my point being,
same as Son as captain.
My point being, if Ange has unearthed any Far Eastern gems, and if Yang is the one, Yang.
That sounds like a pop song.
But Levy and Land found them. So there's an if.
Yang is the one.
Yeah.
Yang from Gang One.
Oh dear!
Did I say if he comes in and he's that absolute shit, he's going to get crucified on this channel. He's going to get absolutely crucified.
He's blatantly been bought out of PC. Simple as that. Same as Son being made captain. For me personally, was a pure PC stunt, whatever you want to call it, to keep a lot of people happy and to keep a lot of money coming in. And to keep a lot of fans elsewhere. And that's why I felt we've also looked at this other player as well. I might be totally wrong. I hope I'm totally wrong. But I don't think I'm wrong about the Son bit. He was made captain for the wrong reason.
Yeah. I wasn't against Son being captain initially, Dan, and I got proven wrong on it. I thought, well, because Son is captain for his country, it may come out of him, but it didn't really happen, did it? He just failed. And
he's just... It comes down to opinion of what you're used to or what you want or each wants as a captain on a pitch. And we're all allowed our own opinion on it. For me, he is about as far from a captain as you can get. I think he's got damn useless.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Maybe off the pitch, he's very good at kissing and cuddling. On the pitch, I think he is an awful captain. When the shit hits the fan, he stands there and cries like the rest of them. I want a captain like Roy Keane. I want a captain like Tony Adams. I want a captain like John Terry, Patrick Vieira, Barello, Gattasso. I want a captain that's got a pair on him and that will bring it up, get your act together, give you a slap round the face if you need it. not one that's going to kiss you on the cheek and offer you lipstick. But that's just how I look at it. But maybe that's just modern day.
I agree. I was when you were saying that, Dan, I was just thinking of Harry Redknapp's team, and if you look at Harry Redknapp's team, right underneath our noses, we actually had leaders in that team, or certainly players that would stand up for themselves and galvanise other players around them, even when we weren't playing that well. In that team, Modric and Huddleston and stuff like that. I mean, try not to rewrite history, but even Huddlestone, he was a big lad, but he put it about as well. I remember him doing some really bad tackles sometimes as well, Huddlestone, didn't he? So, and that's the sort of, it's that mentality, isn't it? It's like if we had lots of Kulus on the pitch, the team would naturally just be tougher because of the way they play. And that I think would bring leaders out of them. But I think Angie's opinion that he wants to grow the leaders, I'm sorry, but I can't see what he's going to grow from that group of players. Yeah, exactly. No, precisely, JP, precisely.
I mean, we really haven't got... The only one who I would have said up until about a couple of months ago that looks like my old school captain material is Romero. But even now, you can tell he just don't want to be there. It just don't look like he wants to be there. It looks like he's had enough. And
I don't think he likes the system.
No, here's a legit question about Romero, and this is my ignorance. Can he actually speak English? Because every time I've seen him, he's always getting a translator.
He must know a little bit, man.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But is that enough for him not to be the cat? Do you see what I'm trying to say? Like, is it?
Got to know: kick, pass, move,
and fuck, and you, and all the other swear words that we shouldn't say.
I break your.
Yeah.
Let's do Romero another day, because there's one last subject I want to do before we go. And by the way, Tommy G, I was always on board and supportive of Ange until he re-signed Werner. That was my point where I said, I'm done. So you're right. I don't deny that. I've never denied that. We've got beg your pardon, not a super chat. We got a channel member. Bring it, big boy. Any worth to watching the game when we lose the next one? We're going to find out. We're going to find out next one. But this is the topic I want to get onto. Tommy, he did put in a super chat. Thank you, Tommy. And he said, save this topic for later. What we've got there now. Seeing West Ham go to Newcastle and win, they won 2-0 tonight. Is it fair to say, other than Liverpool, everyone is inconsistent? Thoughts? P.S. Maz is man of the match performance. But this was an hour ago. And Tommy has changed his man of the match. So I don't know who the man of the match is right now. In case Maz gets happy. And I don't want Maz to be happy. Maz isn't allowed to be happy. But listen, it's a fair point. I'll bring up the league table in just a minute. But is it an inconsistent league, guys? Other than Liverpool.
The fact that looking at we're only 4 points away from, is it like third or something?
Going to get the league table up now.
I mean, it has been pretty much. Like Arsenal's not really run away with it. Man City have obviously had their flaws, even though they tend to come good towards the back end of the season. Chelsea have been semi-consistent, you could say, and then all the rest really haven't been as much up to it.
I mean, look, from 11th to 2nd is 6 points.
But is it not that you could argue it both ways? You can say on one hand it's inconsistent because everyone's nicking point off each other, and then you can flip that and say, yeah, but on the other hand, everyone's much more competitive now, and because it's a more competitive league, this is why you're seeing no one or two teams run away with it so early.
Well, Liverpool do have a 12-point gap on Spurs.
We're only 4 points away from second, though, right?
We're 4
Isn't
points
this
away
why
from
the
second.
Premier League, though, is classed as one of the best league in the world? Because on its day, anybody can beat anybody, and you're not super shocked over it. It might give you a little bit, oh, Ipswich just done City, but you're not totally gobsmacked. Whereas you go to pretty much every other league out there, there's certain teams that you can't even pronounce their name, and they go and beat someone else. You're like, oh my God, did that really just happen? Whereas in the Premiership, anybody can beat anybody.
Yeah, you tend to get a game even from the bottom teams, don't you? Like if you look at Southampton, who are bottom, and like they played Liverpool yesterday, right? I don't know.
And they gave them game and a half, didn't
you
they?
guys watched it. That was quite. I thought Southampton played quite well, apart from their keeper making some stupid mistakes. But like they literally made Liverpool kind of push them right until wherever it was.
Yeah, and Salah saved it, wasn't it?
Do you know Southampton this season though? Right at home, have been tricky. If we try and get
yeah, but they've only won one, haven't they?
So look, they lost away to Wolves by 2 goals. They beat Everton by 1 goal. Stoke, they beat them by 1 goal. Man City, look, they only lost by 1 goal at City. They only lost by 1 goal to Leicester. Weren't they winning against Arsenal until the last few minutes? They were drawing, weren't they? Ipswich they drew. Everton they drew. So Brentford 2 goals. They haven't been getting battered. Southampton have actually. Do you know what? They've actually been doing all right. They've actually been doing all right. It's just they haven't really been putting chances away, and they haven't got killers up front.
Like Palace, basically. Palace haven't exactly been getting smashed up like when we came up to play. And obviously they hadn't won until Dr. Tottenham Hotspur turned up. But they hadn't been getting banged about either. I don't think no one in particular has. I think even Ipswich, yeah, they've had a few beatings, but they've had a few solid games as well.
Even them, like the game against Man United yesterday, they kind of gave it to them.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm saying. I don't think anyone's looking in particularly piss poor this year. I think the poorest team I think I've actually seen is Everton, who I've actually seen play. I'm not saying that, but
I mean, West Ham weren't all that great when they came to our place, to be fair.
No, but West Ham have been probably the poorest team I've seen play. Not West Ham, sorry, Everton. Everton have been the poorest ones I've seen play this season. I know there's been many other games, but I'm just talking about what I've seen. I think Everton have looked below standards is an understatement.
The final performance ratings have come in from Tommy.
Big up, Tommy.
Iggy got a 5.8 for his inability to challenge Stell. There you go. Dan got a 7.8 consistent. So you're a bit of a Ben Davies. Well, no, that's reliable, isn't it? Consistent. Who's consistent? You're Vicario. JP, 7.2, just a chilled out guy. Stell, a 6.3, just about beating Iggy. I almost got hooked. Cheers, man. And Maz, it's a disgrace, man. This is a disgrace. 8.9, solid, but shaky towards the end. There you go. Maz, you've got the man of the show award.
Big up, Tom.
You get to host the next 5 shows. Well done.
We all go on holiday.
That's as far as the budget will take us. You get to host the shows. Big up, Tommy. Thanks for that. Boys, let's do a quick wrap up. Roma, what do we think? Goalie's going to change. Defense probably going to have to stay the same because we haven't got any other defenders unless Archie Gray goes centre back. Fuck my life. Midfield, other than Bergvall coming in, I don't know what other changes he can make because Benton calls out. Spence can't play because he's not in the tournament. I think Werner and Johnson probably start because they only played 20-odd minutes at the Etihad. And then you're probably going to have to go with Solanke because he's another striker. So based on that, Roma, they've got a new manager. They played all right at Napoli, but they still lost 1-0. They're currently 12th in Serie A, but they've got a new manager. Is that enough? What do you think? It's difficult to predict what the hell we're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, they've not been good this season, have they? I know they've got a new manager, so I guess there's an unknown element to it. But I don't know. I think we'll have enough to see them off, assuming we play a stronger team. Not that I care about which players play, because I've already said that today. But I think we'll might win this 1-0.
1-0.
That's possible. I think it'll be a tough game because, like, I think again, whenever we make 5 changes, 6 changes, whatever, you tend to get a bit of a drop off, don't you? So I'm expecting us to try. I kind of like, without wanting it, I kind of see a similar game to Galatasaray, like in terms of them just having a lot of chances. And it'll be one of those things where, they've got a new manager and they'll get a bit of a new manager bounce, and we'll have Werner and Bergwall and Forrester in goal.
You know what? Psycho teacher, I think he just hit the nail clean on the head. Roma are the Italian Spurs. Yeah.
But
I'll go with that.
But
I'll
worse.
go with that.
No, they're not. They actually won a trophy. We haven't.
No, but they are, for what they should be.
That Jose did.
They actually allowed their manager to actually play the cup finals. We didn't.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, for what they could actually be or have been over the years, they should be significantly better or should have done significantly more. They are basically,
That's an interesting point though, because Bentancur can play, can he? Because it's only only a UK ban, isn't it? From Premier League ban.
I don't think we should go as strong as this, because we've got a game 2 days later and Fulham have got a whole week to rest, and I don't like that. I think that worries me, because Fulham have to bounce back. They got battered 4-1 on the weekend. They need to bounce back, and they're going to give it a right go, I think, when they play us.
Yeah, but we used to play our full strength thing. Redknapp didn't rest players like that.
Yeah, but we got injuries.
Didn't do that.
We got but the reason I'm saying it, Maz, is because Bentancur suspended, Richarlison, Odobert injured, Van de Ven injured, Romero injured, now Vicario is injured. There's no room for error with injuries, because you look at the bench and it looks awful.
Christmas is coming as well.
So?
And we've got 9 games in a row coming up.
Yeah, but so what? It's Andrew's squad. He built the squad, so I don't care.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, if I had his squad, I would rotate heavily for this game.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't have his squad because you don't think like Ange, and you would have actually bought good players.
Okay, but if I had this squad, because that's the reality of where we are, right?
Well, at least he's not going to have problems finding a goalkeeper.
How the fuck did you get an 8.9?
About
I don't know, man. I'm fuming about this 8.9.
We do have 5 goalkeepers in the squad, though, so at least we'll be all right for subs.
So
for the goalkeepers.
Play 1 in goal and 4 across the back.
Oh, that makes sense, Maz. So Archie Gray will go and goal.
That's it. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, it's not the end of the world again. This one with Roma.
Lancashire suspended as well.
If we do win it, it makes our life a lot easier. But it's not the end of the world again. But then it does put a lot of pressure on us on the next games for it. But if we go and lose this game to Fulham, then you're going to get a few of us go off our head of like Man City, and you go and do a Fulham.
I actually think you're right. I think he's probably going to play quite a weak team, or the weakest possible team he can play. I think you're right.
Freaking hell, that's at 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm going to say 2-1 Spurs on that one. Because Roma just ain't. They've got good players. They have got some good players, but they just aren't.
Do you know what I'm looking forward to the most in this game? They signed the player I wanted us to get, Manacone. And I want to see how he plays, man. I think he's a top player. Plays in the 6/8. I hope he plays, because if he does, I want to see.
They've got a player I like as well. I think Pellegrini, very underrated player. I think he's a good player, very underrated.
Well, up front they got Dybala as well.
Yeah, but he's very
wicked.
On and off.
El Shawami.
I mean, their defense ain't too
JP, relax. JP, relax. We've got Archie Gray at the back. Forster in goal. It's all right.
Pellegrini.
I think we beat them 2-1.
Oh, Mikey Moore. We forgot about Mikey Moore. He'll probably play, isn't it?
He's not well.
Injured, isn't he?
Oh, he's injured as well?
He's just not well.
He's got a flu or
I
something.
don't think he's injured. He's just not well.
Maybe
you never know.
Maybe he's better by then.
Yeah, you never know.
JP, what was your prediction?
There's Matt Hummels as well.
JP, what did you predict?
I think we will lose 2-1.
Lose 2-1. Wow. Okay. I wasn't expecting that. I think we're going to win 2-1. Dan?
Yeah. 2-1, I think we're snatched at because they're on their third manager already, for God's sake. And even though they have not got a bad team at all, I don't think they just really ain't. They really ain't doing it at the moment.
I mean, I'm looking at the Roma squad now, and I'm disappointed that they've only got 3 goalkeepers.
Amateurs.
I have, my gut is telling me it's going to be a slow, boring game. I really think it's going to be a slow, boring game. I think we're not going to come out playing well. But I'll stick to what I said. I think we're going to win 1-0.
1-0.
We don't really have slow, boring games, though, Maz, do we? We tend to run around headlessly and go for it.
I just don't think Roma are going to allow us to do that, though. I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see. Or at least it'll be interesting anyway.
Well, look. Make sure you subscribe to the Hotspur Hood. There's the link. I'll put it in the chat as well. Make sure you follow Dan. You can catch Dan during the week. He goes live normally during the daytime at some point. I will be on the Spurs Dan list tomorrow evening. He set up a debate with a bunch of Anginas, so this should be interesting. See how that goes. Join us there. Sorry?
Make sure you post the link on
Yeah, I'll put it on the community page. We will be back on Thursday. It's going to be a late one because the game's late. I think we're on at 11 p.m. Late night show, Spurs Roma. We'll be talking about it. Come and join us. Otherwise, guys, as always, thanks for being here. Thanks for subscribing, liking, hit notification bell. Make sure you follow Dan's channel. And we will see you in the next couple of days. Anything else you want to say, lads?
Much love, everyone.
See you later on.
Oh, thank you to John. Thank you to Tommy. Thank you to Bring a Big Boy. And thank you to Tommy again for the super chats. And
yeah, big up everyone in the chat. There was a lot of banter tonight, so it's quite good.
Yeah, thank you for all the comments towards me. Appreciate it. All right, we're out of here. Take care. Bye.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.